What's going on, guys? So I have some good news and I have some bad news. Good news is I got some Popeye's chicken. Bad news is I am joined yet again with Mr. Dan.
Hey everyone, I'm back.
That's enough of that. We'll just let him keep talking while he thinks we can hear him. How you doing, Dan?
Oh, hey. He has too much power.
I sure do. How the hell are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Had fun last night, you know?
Yeah. I feel like dog shit. We may be joined by another guest later on. He is a boomer, so we don't know if he's actually going to be here. Yeah, that'll be exciting. So we got a few things to talk about as I get my chicken ready because I am hungry and I didn't eat shit today. So here we go. So let me get ready here. I was not prepared for this yet again. Who knew?
Professional.
Very professional. How was your weekend?
How was my weekend?
How was your
weekend? All right. You know, pretty.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. You know, had some fun yesterday. Hung out with some friends. One friend and you.
Oh, that's good. Let me try to pull this up real quick. You can keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. I was just chilling.
Yeah,
it's funny. We were discussing some of the topics beforehand for this stream, and I think we got some good ones this time. we have a lot to talk about.
Yes. So we are less than a week away from fucking Spider-Man 2. Are you excited for Spider-Man 2?
Yes. Hell yes. Venom looks sick. Of course, the voice is fucking awesome.
Oh,
man. I don't know, we don't know yet what the story is how the story is gonna play out. But it seems like Venom might be Harry Osborn. Again, we don't know, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting way to take it, It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not too fond of what was that? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I would prefer if it was Eddie Brock. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they have plans around that, like with him that we don't know yet.
So I'm not too fond of that because it seems like I guess they said that Eddie Brock isn't in the game at all.
Oh, he's not in the game at all.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought I heard.
Oh.
I don't actually know, but
I know in the first one, I'm trying to think. I think it's the first one. One of the collectibles, I think, is a card. Because like Peter, when he left the Daily Bugle, like he had a card, and one of the with everyone's signatures of who worked there, and one of them said Eddie Brock. So like he should be canon, at least in the universe. I mean, I don't know if he'll be in the game, but like he should exist.
They also said Gwen Stacy is around in this game or in this universe. I don't know about this game specifically if she's actually in the game, but yeah, they said Gwen Stacy's actually around. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see if they actually put her in this game.
Well, I'm a little nervous. I'm really hoping they don't do like a Spider-Verse, piggybacking off Into the Spider-Verse and all that with like Spider-Gwen. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of would like it if Insomniac just stayed in this universe. You know what I mean? And just told stories here. I don't really like, I think the multiversal stuff, the Spider-Verse is cool in the Spider-Verse movies, but like in terms of this game, I would rather it just stay more local. Stay in this New York, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna pull this up because, especially after just last night, I finished the first Spider-Man game.
Mm-hmm.
It really annoys me that we're getting a change in MJ's look.
Yeah,
I don't like how she looks. I don't understand, especially because like right down here you see her, how she was in the first game. It's like she aged 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true because I mean I just read this came from like a comment because a post I saw, but apparently it's the same actress. It's just I guess due to the years between making the games and the better technology, I guess. Like apparently the same actress, but it's just like she just looks, she's just older. You know what I mean? Like they didn't like do anything to change her. That's just how the actress looks. I didn't confirm that. I didn't actually look into it, but
well, is it so? Actress and the actress and model are different. So like for Peter Parker's, I don't 100% know what the comment said or whatever, but for Peter Parker / Spider-Man, you got someone doing the model for the face. They did the same thing with The Last of Us, where they had like a face model, and then they had the voice. They had someone else playing, voicing the character. So, is it more or less like the voice actress is the same, or did they do the same thing that they did with Peter Parker and find someone else to, model her face? You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, like,
why are you so
it's
bright?
just very bright all of a sudden. So I'm like, why is it so bright all of a sudden? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't actually like check to confirm, but apparently, like I said, this one comment, the person said that it's the same model, like it's the same woman who modeled in the first game. It's just, I guess, when they were taking the shot, when they were actually filming it, like it's been however many years, and with better technology, she just looks older. Because I mean, the PS4 game came out in what, 2016? I think
2018.
2018.
Stephanie Tyler Jones. Stephanie Tyler Jones is her name.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, no. So, I mean, again, I don't know what goes on in making the game, but I would imagine if the first game came out 5 years ago, I'm sure it takes a little bit it takes a while to develop the game. So, I guess you could say it's probably been 5 to 7 years. Like from when she first filmed her scenes to like the end.
I don't know. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really see the resemblance. Now, granted, this probably, back when the first one came out, but still, it doesn't really look like her. Not too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I can kind of see it in the eyes.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
but I feel like yeah, I don't know if it's like her. I mean, it's also maybe because the hair is different, but I feel like her like cheeks look different. You know what I mean? And like her jaw looks a little different.
Yeah, like she's a little more like in the game. She's like a lot more. Her facial features are a lot more rounded, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really see. I guess I kind of see it a little more in this, but yeah, I
guess.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it could be lighting too. Maybe they just.
Yeah, you know all about lighting. Look at you.
I know. Yeah. I turned the big light on, and all of a sudden, it's just like the power of 1,000 suns came out of nowhere. Oh man, but
power
yeah,
of the sun in Dan's living room.
In Dan's living room. But yeah, I don't know. I do find it weird that like in the trail, you know, like I said, in the trailer for Spider-Man 2, due to the model changes and stuff, it's like MJ looks like 10 years older and Peter looks 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Like it's so awkward to me. You know, I feel like the PS4 version was perfect. In terms of like model choices. Like I think that was the perfect Peter and the perfect MJ. They just both looked, you know, I know some people said Peter looked a little old, but I thought it was great. I thought it looked, you know, like a withered Peter who's been Spider-Man for 8 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But and now he looks like a kid.
I think at the time of the game, he was supposed to be like 24.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever.
But now it's like I feel like he looks too young now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like now he looks like a kid, and then she looks older. So, like I said, it makes it even more awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. But speaking of video games that are kind of disappointing, I don't not that I'm saying Spider-Man 2 is disappointing necessarily, but we talked a little bit before the show, but the Lord of the Rings Golem came out, you know, and that game, excuse me, that game came out in a horrific state. Everyone hated it, and they issued an apology day one. Day one, they issued an apology to everyone who bought the game. Basically, like, hey, we're sorry this game was so shitty. You know, we'll do better next time, blah, blah, blah. Well, it kind of defeats the purpose when you apologize if you're not actually apologizing. If you actually don't make an apology yourself, it kind of defeats the purpose. Report claims Lord of the Rings Golem published used AI to write apology. Look at that fucking garbage. There's no listen.
What the
I don't
hell
know
is
what they were
that?
thinking about. Right. I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they released this game, but the fact that they issued an apology that they didn't even write. They didn't even write the shit. I'll have to find the tweet. I'd like to find the tweet because in the tweet that they issued, it had some spelling errors. It had like grammar issues or something like that. It was when they talked about when it was in the apology, when they went to call the game what it is, the Lord of the Rings Golem, it was called Lord of the Ring, or I'm sorry, Lord of Ring Golem. So they didn't even get the title right. Yeah. So that should have been a red flag for pretty much everyone, and it kind of was, because that was kind of a big deal when people saw the apology initially. Yes, right here. I don't know if I can full screen it, but yeah, let me share my screen here. That. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, if you look closely, it's a little small, so I don't know how to actually full screen this. Yeah, I don't know how to full screen it, but the very first sentence, you go through here. Look at the title they put: "The Lord of Ring Golem."
The Lord of Ring. So you could tell, like, that's how incredibly lazy it is. That's how incredibly lazy it is. They can't even, like, they obviously didn't type it out, but they couldn't even, like, spell check it and be like, okay, does this even make sense?
Yep.
Like, they couldn't even be bothered.
My issue is they used AI. It wasn't even that they actually wrote it themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I mean. Like, how lazy is that?
They didn't even have the decency. They didn't even have the decency to actually take the time to type it out themselves. What does that say about a person? You know, if I did something to you, right, and it bothered you, it made you angry, whatever, and I just sent out a letter, but I didn't actually write it, how would you feel?
I mean, yeah, be pretty annoyed. It's like, dude, you're obviously you're not, you're insincere about it. You know what I mean? You're not genuinely sorry. If you did, you would have at least, put in a little bit of effort.
Yep.
To say in your own words, hey, sorry about the development of the game, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, it sounds like they just typed in to an AI just a couple keywords to hit, type out, generate an apology, and then that's it.
Right.
Didn't even spell check it.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean,
and how long would it take to even write an apology? I mean, realistically, you know what I mean? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like, you tell me they really have to do that?
Apparently, that was a lot harder than making an actual game that plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a whole playthrough of the game on this channel.
Oh, God.
And that was one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had. And it was just like, there was either no sense of direction, or there were glitches that just ruined the experience, that hurt the experience. And, you're getting hurt for no reason, or you're just dying for no reason. The game was almost unplayable. And they don't even have the decency to apologize for it. Not directly, at least. They didn't, like, they could have filmed an apology. They could have written out an apology themselves, but no, they decided to use an AI. That's really scummy. That's very disingenuous. And yeah, I don't even know.
Swapped. I went to the other side of the table, see if that helps. With the lighting.
That looks a lot better anyway. I mean, well, not really. I prefer I just, don't
prefer I just didn't have to see you at all, but
matter of fact.
There
it is. All right. Unfortunately, we can still hear you, but
Yes. I'm still here. No, but I completely agree. It's just like, how, like I said, how incredibly lazy do you have to be that you can't even just type out an apology, And they knew when the game was releasing that it was shit, they knew. So it's like, they again, like if they actually cared about the fans at all, they would have at least taken the 5 minutes to just, hey, we're sorry, we'll try again next time.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't even do that.
Well, the thing is, the real shitty thing is that they priced this game out at $60. This is a $60 game. You put a lot of money into these games, and that's the kind of that just they disrespect you like that. It's disrespectful. It's like, yeah, thank you for giving us your money, but fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, all right, got your money. See you.
Yeah. And I don't know, because this game studio or whatever, they're shutting down. This is their first game and they're shutting down. So I don't even know if because they're supposed to come out with another game, which is like it's like kind of a horde shooter, but it's not a shooter. It's like a horde hack and slash called Return to Moria. That they scheduled that to be released, and now it's like I don't even know if that game's going to get released. We certainly haven't seen anything since the Golem debacle, so I'm interested to see if that's still going to get released. If it does, they're going to lose a lot of money. So I don't know where Dan went, but we'll just we'll just put him on the spot then. But
my time to shine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's me. All right. We don't got to see that guy anymore.
Fuck you. So you told me about something that was announced, a certain TV series that was announced. Would you like to discuss that?
Oh boy.
Being the expert in the series.
Universe? You mean the cinematic universe?
Yes.
But yeah, no, I saw that the other day, or I guess a day or two ago, they announced that Halloween, the series with Michael Myers, the White Mask, is they're making a TV show. Yeah. And I don't know. I find it extremely odd, to say the least. Let me see if I can pull up oh, Your Royal Highness has to confirm if I could prove it.
Fuck you.
But yeah, so it's Halloween is coming to TV, and it's going to start a new cinematic universe, right? Because it just proves that quite literally every franchise has to have a cinematic universe. Every single one. You can't have a single franchise that's not a cinematic universe.
Well, of course not.
Million spin-offs attached to it, it has to.
Right.
But yeah, so I was reading through this, and it doesn't. I mean, we can see that because Miramax is the one who has the deal. But it doesn't really say. I'm just kind of glancing over it again, but yeah, I don't think it really says anything about what this show is even going to be about. Like, meaning, is it like a prequel, a sequel? Does it have anything to do with Michael Myers? I mean, what's the story at all? I don't think anything's confirmed yet. Yeah. Look at there, nothing's confirmed yet, but this guy, he's going to get a whole cinematic universe, and I find we talked about this earlier, but I was going to say is that it's interesting that they're making a TV show for Halloween right after announcing that Friday the 13th is getting a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you brought that up. And I was like, yeah, sounds about right. After the whole trial for Friday the 13th of, who gets the rights, they finally figured it out. And then they announced the TV show is coming out for Friday the 13th. And then bam, we get this.
And that's the thing. Like obviously franchises like this, they're always going to be competing with another franchise. So, for instance, Friday the 13th, they're getting a show. Oh, well, guess what? We're making a Halloween show now. The thing is, when they announced the Friday the 13th show, they said it was going to be like a prequel to the series.
Mm-hmm.
But all they're giving us for this is that it's just we're making a show. It doesn't specify if it's in a specific timeline. Is it following the original Halloween 1 and 2? Is it following the Rob Zombie movies? Doubtful. Is it following Halloween H2O Resurrection? Is it following any of these timelines?
Yeah, does it follow the curse of Michael Myers? I mean,
right.
Halloween Ends. I mean, which there's a bunch.
Or
of
is this just a
here.
complete reboot of the series, just in TV form?
And I also don't really understand what story there is to tell.
Right.
Like I just don't. Like I don't like it. At least Friday the 13th. I have the same. I have the same feelings. Which is, again, I don't really see why you would make a series out of it. Mm-hmm. But at least with Friday the 13th, you can maybe play into like, well, what happened, to Jason? Like how did his death as a kid occur? Or maybe you can play into like the voodoo magic that, that played. I mean, I guess that actually doesn't really fit. But I was just going to say, you could play into more of like the lore of what's going on, in the Friday the 13th universe and what's special about this Camp Crystal Lake or something, I don't know, something. I feel like this, to me, it's like, I don't really understand what you're going to tell. Like it's also been in the universe. Like Michael hasn't said a word. Like he went to the mental asylum as a kid and he never said a word for like 15 years. He's never shown emotion, nothing. Dr. Loomis says, like, his pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, right? And it's like, the point being that, like, Michael is very, like, he never talked. He never expressed any emotion. He was just a blank face, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand what's the series going to be about then,
Right.
Like, there's nothing interesting there.
I mean, they could potentially. The only thing they could do with this is just show the events leading up to Michael Myers killing his sister. That's about it. But even then, you can sum that. You can do that in either a movie or one season of a show, not a whole series.
Yeah, and that actually brings up another point. To me, it almost feels like those Disney Plus shows where it's like any idea I can think of, it's like to me it's so thin that like it would make more sense to just make it like a movie, or make like a mini series, like a couple episodes. Like I really don't see it. I don't really see it going past like 3 episodes because again, I don't know what story you could tell.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like even with the Friday the 13th show, I don't think there's really much you can tell with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you can tell in a whole series for either franchise.
Yeah.
You can tell they're trying to do more because I think Ash versus Evil Dead was the first one. They were the first ones to do that, where it's like they're going to have a series. In modern times, I mean, they've had Friday the 13th, the series that was like back in the 80s. But they did have a series of Friday the 13th, like a TV show. They also had a Nightmare on Elm Street TV series. I don't know if you knew that, but
no.
yeah, that show was like, I don't know about the Friday the 13th series, but I think it was called Freddy's Nightmares. I think that's what the show was called. And all it is just him sitting there reading like a storybook. It's like he basically tells a story for the audience. And so it's just like an anthology series, but it's just Freddy is just sitting there by like a fireplace or something, just reading a story. And they actually had Robert Englund as Freddy for that series.
I mean, that's cool to bring him back at least.
Yeah. But the first franchise to actually do that, to my knowledge, there may have been something else before that. But the first one to do that was Ash versus Evil Dead. And now we got Chucky. Now we're getting Friday the 13th, and then Halloween. So they're all competing with one another. Personally, I want to see more Ash versus Evil Dead over anything else because I like that show. I thought it was entertaining as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see Bruce Campbell back as Ash Williams. I would like for them to do a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I'd love to see that.
I mean, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a Freddy versus Jason too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't bring like Robert Englund back. I mean, he's obviously pretty old at this point, but
yeah.
I think it'd be so sick to get a sequel.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about the 2010? Not the movie itself, but the guy that they got to play Freddy in the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street movie. How did you feel about him?
I don't know. I feel like he did a good job with what they wanted, which was to make Freddy more like serious and menacing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I think he's a good choice if that's what you're trying to go for. But I think if you're like, as far as Freddy in general and like the fun, not quirkiness, but like the sarcastic, like the jokes he would make, I think was terrible.
Yeah.
I think he was way too serious. And like even like some of the jokes he did, I guess he did kind of make a couple jokes in the movie. I think he made a couple, but like they weren't like, obviously it wasn't nearly as good as the originals. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I do remember that movie where it's like Freddy, he likes to taunt his victims before killing them. He wants them as terrified as possible. He thinks it's fun, but like what they did in the 2010 movie was make him very angry. He was just very vengeful, and I feel like they really ruined his character. Now that being said, do you think I can't remember his name? It's like something Dean Bradley or something like that, who played Freddy in that movie. Do you think if they wrote his character correctly, would he have done a good job?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I think he's a good actor, but I just it's very hard to imagine him actually like having, I don't want to say a personality, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard for me to imagine him not being like angry and, overly serious, like I can't imagine him actually like playing along and like, you know what I mean? Making all the stupid jokes that Freddy would do.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, this is the dude that I'm pretty sure the only reason he was cast as Freddy was because they saw his performance in Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I
Yep.
think that's the only reason he was cast, and they wanted to do a darker take on the character, which I'm okay with, but Freddy's not necessarily like serious,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Well, it's
He's
fine
not
too, because
hateful. He's
like,
not vengeful.
yeah, and the thing is too is that like in the original, he actually was more serious than the rest of the series when you really
Yeah.
think about it. But
Oh
even
yeah,
then,
absolutely.
it wasn't. But even then, I mean, it still wasn't as much. Like he wasn't as angry and whatever as like the remake. You know.
Mhm. Yep.
And I also think that the series, like even though the original he was more serious, like throughout the next sequels, like he evolved, so it's like it's kind of silly to
Mhm.
not stick to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Halloween TV series and all these TV series, it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. But then again, not because like this kind of just came to me as like they do have comic books of Halloween and like Friday the 13th, and
Yeah.
I think even like Leatherface, and they have comics for all this stuff where they have a bunch of different stories of I think some of them are technically they could be canon. I don't know. It's a very weird. Like I don't think anyone actually really officially says what's canon or not canon. They kind of just make stuff, and if you like it, you like it. But
Mhm.
but yeah, but I was gonna say they have comic books of Halloween and Freddy or well yeah, and Freddy and Jason and all these people. So
Yeah.
I guess it could work, if you just adapt, like just make that into a live action format. You know what I mean? I guess it could work.
Yep.
I've never read these comics, so I don't know how good they are.
Right. Um, I read the first issue of Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. That was a lot of fun. Um, but as far as like any other horror comics, I didn't really actually get into any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't even know they came out with that with like Halloween and Friday the 13th comics until 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that kind of stuff fell under the radar, but um, I think if they were to adapt some of those comics, I feel like they could have. I feel like there's a way to adapt these comics. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a following. I think there are people that have read these comics and would love to see this on the big screen. You know, who the hell wouldn't want to see Bruce Campbell fighting Freddy and Jason? You know, I know I would, but yeah, I think that kind of stuff's pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
the only thing though is I at least for the Halloween case, I don't think they're actually going to do it because I feel like a lot of these follow the comics I'm saying because the comics are old and like I don't know
Oh
how they
yeah.
did financially, but obviously if we like it sounds silly to say like this, but I feel like if we never heard of it, until like a few years ago, it's like they weren't really that popular then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I would imagine if they were a big hit, we would have heard about it sooner. So
Right.
I'm but we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens with this
Yeah.
series. I just
Speaking
want Freddy
of
vs.
big
Jason
hits,
too.
yes, that would be awesome. And speaking of big hits, um, a certain celebrity keeps taking massive, massive hits. See if this pulls up for you. Yes. Jada Pinkett Smith reveals she and Will Smith have been separated since 2016.
Damn, did Will know that?
For 7 years. 7 years they've been separated.
Yeah, I mean, did Will know that?
Jada Pinkett Smith has revealed that, he, yeah, I don't. That man's got some problems. Jada Pinkett Smith has revealed that she and husband Will Smith have been living completely separate lives since 2016. Yeah, the entanglement kind of gave it away, huh?
Yeah.
And a clip from her forthcoming NBC News primetime special with Hoda Kotb. I don't know. Pinkett Smith said Jesus, I can't fucking read this shit. Said the couple had previously gone public with their separation because they were not ready yet. They were still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership, she said. How do you present that to people? We hadn't figured that out. Okay. Oh my God, she's 52.
Dude, imagine being in your late 40s, early 50s. You have 3 kids, you're married, and you're like, I don't know how to make a partnership work. It's like, dude, just
right.
I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, just don't be crazy. They're also fucking rich. They have a mansion with like 20 bedrooms. I'm sure if they wanted space from each other, they can just be like, hey, I'm gonna sleep on the other side of the mansion for like a couple days. You know, leave me alone, and then get back together. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have beach houses.
Well, all I'm saying is,
hey, I want to, leave me alone for a couple days. Like, I don't. It's weird to me that they can't possibly figure out how to make it work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think a relationship is that difficult. You know what I mean? If you genuinely love each other, I don't think it's.
Listen,
there's hard times, but it's not that hard. You know what I mean?
Listen. I think the best part about this Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith garbage is the idea that Tupac really dodged a bullet here.
Yeah, I mean, at least he dodged one of them.
Yeah, he dodged one of them. Yeah. The thing is, we talked about it before, but there has to be something that she has Will on. You know what I mean? She has to know something about him for him to be putting up with all that.
Yeah, I think it's got to be something. I mean,
if you remember the slap, when Chris Rock made that joke, the G.I. Jane joke, whatever. You can clearly see the camera like focusing in on Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. He's laughing. On the left of the screen, you see him laughing, and right next to him, she's just looking so upset. And then it goes, the camera focuses back on Chris Rock. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh. And then you see Will just fucking slap him right there and then walk back. And he's like getting mad and just screaming at him, So, I mean, it wasn't like it was a genuine reaction. It was just, he thought it was funny. And then he saw her get upset. She might have even slapped him on the arm or something like, hey, that's not funny. And then he went up and did what he did. The thing is, I have no sympathy for this man. I really don't. I don't have any sympathy for him because he's not, like he let this woman kind of control him, and yeah. Okay, let's see what you got here.
Oh, I was gonna type it out if you want to know. It's I don't know. It's a clip. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but where Jada's telling, like, she's doing like the interview with, I think, her mom and her daughter, and she's saying that, like,
Yep.
oh, my grandmother taught me how to self pleasure when I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just very odd. It's like, yeah, I think that's probably a source of why she's so wacky.
Yep.
Because that.
Oh, let's give it a listen. See if I can bring it.
Grandmother taught me about self-pleasuring because she wanted me to know that that pleasure was from me.
Exactly.
She didn't want me to fall into the hands of a man, and if he gave me pleasure, to think that that was him. And she taught me at 9.
At 9.
But to me, like, there's so much to dissect there, because obviously, yeah, like, first of all, that's to me, that's extremely inappropriate to discuss with your grandchild. Ever. To me, that's weird. I wouldn't,
right.
I can't imagine discussing with my grandmother or grandfather, whatever, like, just like, oh yeah, how do I self pleasure? Like, that's a very, to me, it's very inappropriate to discuss with a grandparent. Mm-hmm. On top of that is discussing that with your grandchild when they're 9. I mean, that's disgusting, right? That's obviously traumatic and disgusting. And then the third thing that blows my mind, she actually tries to spin it in a way that it's like female empowerment. Like, oh, it's you can't get pleasure from a man, or some, whatever she said. I don't know. You got the pleasure comes from you and not to be dependent on a man, or something like that. It's just such an odd way of, like, I don't understand what's, like, it's just weird to me. It's like, like, you can't depend on a man to have intimate relations. I mean, isn't that like the point of a husband and wife?
Well, here's the thing. There's something very wrong about the idea that, oh, I don't need to feel pleasure from someone else. Well, the thing is, that's you're secluding yourself, essentially. You're isolating yourself. You're shutting everyone out. How are you supposed to have an actual relationship with anyone? And I'm not just talking like intimately or anything like that, but if that is your mentality of, I don't need a man, or I don't need this person to make me feel good. Well, yes and no, because you're gonna act on those urges. Clearly, she needed her son's best friend, right?
Yep.
I mean, otherwise she would have just looked at some pictures of him online and just rubbed it to that. Right?
Just flick to that.
So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot wrong with her. There's a lot wrong with Jada's family. I know that Will Smith's family hates her. They hate everything.
As they should.
Yeah, they should. And they vehemently disagree with how Will has been treated and how he's been letting her treat him. So, I mean, really, there's a lot wrong with that. She's teaching her own kids the wrong lessons at the end of the day. And that's yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. And like, when you look at it, Will Smith's kids, he has I think 3 or 4.
I think so.
I think 3.
I
know
3.
one was from a previous relationship or previous marriage, whatever. And then I think at least 2 are from Jada. Because I think it's Trey, right? And then then Willow and
Yeah, Trey, the one that no one talks about, and the one
Yeah.
no one knows about.
but the one who's the most normal. When you ever look at like pictures of them as a family, like he's the
Mhm.
regular one. He's got, regular clothes, regular hair. He's looks like
Right.
he's just chilling, And then you got his other kids who have this like wacky, weird, I can't even describe it. The hairstyles they choose, the colors, and they,
Yep.
and the weird things that they say, like his son, like emancipated, like he didn't want to be their kid anymore, like legally. Like I don't even know what that means. Like it's just such a weird dynamic between them. I don't understand how anyone, like that's why like I lost all respect for Will, because it's like he tries to
Yep.
preach, I'm never gonna divorce. It's like, dude, this is disgusting. You're sacrificing not
ruining
just
your
your life,
life.
but your kid's life.
Yeah, she's ruining your life, or she's ruining your family's life, essentially.
Yeah, like if she was just ruining his life and maybe like hurting his reputation, obviously that sucks. But you know what? It's your life. Do it. If you want to wreck it, wreck it. What do I care? But I don't
Yep.
like it when you could see it obviously affecting the kids. Obviously,
Mhm.
I mean they are just, to put it lightly, they're all nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just sad. It's like that's going to be his legacy now. You know what I mean? Is just a bunch of weird
Yep.
kids.
Yeah, and really,
Look
I
it
mean,
up.
if you look up there, if you look at their pictures, they're not normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Clearly, Will doesn't have control over his life or his kids. So
Well,
are
and
you
like
pulling
you
something
said,
up?
no, I was just looking. I wanted to see how many kids did he have, but yeah, he has 3. So he has Trey, Jaden,
Okay.
Willow. But and again, like I definitely think, like I agree with you. I think she has to have something on him, something that keeps him in check, because I don't see.
Mhm.
Oh, excuse me. Like I just don't understand why he would put up with so much. And like it's not even,
Well,
at first it was like a meme because you're like, oh, he's kind of weak, whatever. But now it's kind of getting scary. It's like, dude, how much are you putting up with? You know what I mean? And he's like,
right. And
and
he's
like, not to be, well, I was gonna say, not to even be like, you know, like I don't know much about his family life and stuff, but like he's from Philly. Like, I don't know. It's just like you're telling me he doesn't have people in his life who are saying like, hey man, what are you doing? Like if he grew up in Hollywood with a bunch of these
probably
weirdos,
because
whatever.
he
But
probably
come
shut
on,
him
like,
out.
maybe that's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? If he grew up in Hollywood with a bunch of weirdos, I could kind of get it maybe. But he grew up in Philly. Like I would imagine, like I said, he probably had normal people, you know what I mean, who would be like, hey man, this is not normal. This is wacky.
Yep.
But I don't
The
know.
thing is, even though it wasn't released, there are rumors of him. There are rumors of Will Smith being on a certain list. To
Certain
a
list.
specific island. So I think that's the kind of dirt that she has on him. And if it's true, then lock him up too. He deserves everything he's getting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean,
But
if it's
everyone in
actually
Hollywood,
true,
they're all
then
insane.
it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. But I do want to talk about a specific show when it pulls up. Why aren't we pulling it up?
Where is it? Oh, there you go.
There we go. Then Born Again writers, or Born Again ditches head writers and directors as Marvel rethinks show. Isn't that funny? It's not even the writers, it's the directors.
Yep.
I find that so strange.
Interesting.
But yes, staying true to its title, Daredevil Born Again will soon be reborn. Marvel series set to continue the adventures of Charlie Cox. Not too much, I'd imagine, as blind superhero Matt Murdock is getting a complete overhaul. EW has confirmed the Hollywood Reporter was the first to report the news that the studio parted ways with the head writers Chris Ord and Matt Corman. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts when you hear that they essentially fired the head writers and directors of Daredevil Born Again?
Well, to be honest, my biggest thing is just confusion because I'm just so lost as to why. Like I'm trying to understand the logic of like, were they going down a direction that Disney didn't like? Like maybe because Disney received a lot of backlash and like lost a lot of money from, She-Hulk and all these other shows. And so they finally were like, all right, stop doing this. We got to make it better. Like, is it that? Like, that's why they fired the writer and directors? Or is it the opposite? Are the writers and directors trying to make Daredevil like actually cool and actually badass? And then Disney's like, hey, that doesn't fit with our narrative. And so they fired him, Like, I'm curious, like, is it a course correction or... Well, yeah. Like, is it a course correction or not?
I do want to agree that there is that possibility that they were actually doing things that the fans would have liked. However, they did come out and say that Foggy Nelson and Karen Page are not in the show. And actually, I can't remember if it was both of them or if it was just Foggy. But those characters are supposed to be dead.
Dead?
Yeah. Which is why they're not in the show.
Huh.
I can't remember if it was both Foggy and Karen, but at least one of them is supposed to be dead.
Yeah, man, we don't even see it.
Right.
Like, ooh,
exactly. So it's hard to say. The thing is, I will never understand, especially when they got the rights to the Netflix shows. They put them on Disney Plus. They are on Disney Plus now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they don't want to just continue that story. They don't want to have that feel. Like, God forbid you want to give fans what they remember. God forbid you want to give fans what they, the same thing that we liked in the first 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Yeah.
I mean, really. But you still have the Punisher coming back, which I think they're going to bastardize his character.
Yeah, look at the comics on that one.
Bastardize his character.
Yeah, like look at the comics on that one. I mean, they've ruined the Punisher in the comics.
Yeah.
So
did you hear how his character went out?
How?
So apparently, the Avengers captured him, and basically, I can't remember. I think they went back in time, got his wife to come back because I guess they brought his wife to their time, so like they got her before she died. And I guess I can't remember exactly, but I think what they did was show her what he did, everything, all the things that he's done after they died. and they brought her in so she can basically tell him like, hey, I don't like what you're doing. By the way, I want a divorce. So they basically had his wife divorce him.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, they forced him into a different universe. They forced him into a different they sent him through the multiverse to where he's like in the I think it was like this post-apocalyptic world or something. I can't quite remember, but he's just living out his days just helping children, helping feed children and shit like that. Instead of just having him be the Punisher and having him die in a blaze of glory, you have to make sure you beat this man down. And then he's just you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, especially with the divorce.
They send him there all because they want to teach him a lesson of compassion.
Uh-huh. Compassion.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You don't understand. His character, the reason he hunts criminals is because he lacks compassion.
Right.
That's it. There's no deeper reason. I mean, nothing to do with his family or anything. He's just not compassionate. You know what I mean? That's all it is. He needs a total lesson.
Right. He's not called the Punisher because, he punishes the people who do bad things.
No.
He just goes around killing literally men, women, and children. Just whoever's around, I guess.
But yeah, no, and like that is like to me kind of insulting that it's like we found a way to bring your wife back just to divorce you. It's like, okay, dude, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yep. So.
Yeah, so I could see that happening in this live action version, or at least something.
I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily, but they're going to make him weak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him using guns in this show. If he does, he's going to switch to swords at some point in the show. I think that's what they're going to do.
You would think guns are more humane.
Well, yeah.
Like a shot to the head's pretty quick. Getting stabbed takes a while.
Well, that's the thing. They hate guns. Just a few years ago, they came out with a comic where he only uses swords now. Yeah, I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like they really care about any of these characters, despite just them making these characters. It's very insulting to the fans who loved characters like the Punisher. Like the Punisher is right up there. Like the Thomas Jane Punisher movie is right up there with Spider-Man 2. That's like one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. It just is. And it wasn't. And like I think that movie did a really good job at expressing like he's not a bad guy. He's a vigilante who wants revenge. That's essentially what his character is. The Punisher video game on the PS2 is really well done because you can torture the bad guys, whatever. But like literally at the start of the game, there's this dude. He's like holding this woman at gunpoint, and you just run up to him and like stab him with your knife, killing him instantly. And she's like, "Oh, thank you." And he's like, "For what? For saving my life?" Right. And just you walk away.
Yeah.
So it's like he does these things, but it's he does good things. He just has a different way of going about it. Like he doesn't necessarily do good things. Like he's very militaristic. He's very borderline psychotic. But
it makes him interesting.
Right. But he doesn't go after the bad. He doesn't go after good people. You know, he's like, like I said, he's just a vigilante who just wants to punish people for doing bad things. He even says that in his monologue at the end of the movie. You know, so
and like in Daredevil season 2, right? When John Berthold's Punisher shows up, I mean, they have like a pretty good like philosophical debate, where Daredevil says like, oh, everyone's life is precious and we shouldn't kill people. And then the Punisher brings up the point of like, well, you're like, you beat up the bad guys, you put them in jail, and then a day, a week, a month later, they're back on the street doing the same thing again,
Yep.
And it's like, it's an interesting philosophical debate of like, well, I mean, obviously, I don't agree with killing people, but on the other hand, you could see where the Punisher's coming from.
Yeah. And his argument is like, I'm killing less people by ending their lives than you are locking these people up and they escape and kill more people.
Like,
and his argument is who has the more blood on their hands.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I feel like how long has this meme / argument been a thing where like, people would say like, imagine if Batman just killed the Joker, how many lives he would save? Because how many times has Joker broken out of Arkham Asylum and killed people, and what I mean, and tortured and whatever,
right?
And again, it's like, I think it's at least it's an interesting discussion. Like you could see things from the Punisher's perspective. He's not just a psycho who's looking to kill because he wants to kill. It's like, no, he actually has logic there. You know what I mean? It's reasonable. Now, obviously, do you agree or not? That's a personal opinion, whatever. But like I said, to me, it's like at least it's reasonable. People act like he's like this evil psycho who's just looking to kill people, and it's like, no, there's more to him than that.
Yep.
It's disingenuous to try to I don't know, characterize him like that.
At the end of the day, his idea of the justice system is very flawed and in some ways corrupt. Because at the end of the day, when you do think about it, why is it okay? Like, why is it okay to keep this person alive, given how many people over here he's murdered? You know what I mean? And that's kind of how his character's always been. So, and it doesn't mean that he's necessarily doing the right things, but he has good intentions behind it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't. They clearly don't care about these characters anymore. To be honest, I don't even think they ever did care about these characters. It's just now it's to the point where they want to beat these characters down. They want these characters removed.
Yeah. It's just to fundamentally change them to fit their own narrative. It's like, dude, if you got the rights to these characters, like people like these characters for a reason,
Yep. Right. And that's kind of my point. They want to essentially they want to use these characters, but they're not using them in a way that they're familiar. Like, yeah, you get the same actors. You get Charlie Cox back. You get John Bernthal back. That's great. I want to see these characters back, but I know they're not going to be the same characters. They're going to be playing. It's going to be Daredevil in name only, Punisher in name only.
Yeah, I mean, look at She-Hulk and Daredevil doing the walk of shame.
Yep.
Like I challenge anyone to watch 3 seasons of Daredevil and then you go watch She-Hulk and tell me that's the same character. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, come on, dude. Yep. He looks the same, like you said, the same actor, similar wardrobe. Obviously, they changed some things, but you could for all the shallow view of things, it looks just like the character. But when you actually watch it, it's like, dude, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Exactly. I mean, he was in the one scene that he's in Spider-Man No Way Home, he was the most Daredevil we've seen since Disney got the rights to that character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
It
also
also
talks
wasn't even
about
Disney.
Jessica Jones making an appearance.
Wait, what was it?
There are also discussions of Jessica Jones potentially making an appearance.
Oh, in that Daredevil show?
Yeah.
So
I'm curious about that, I guess. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just to the point where I'm just like, do whatever. Marvel's dead. Star Wars is dead. It's all dead. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, it's my thing. Like when I heard about this Daredevil show, I was like, yeah, I'm not even remotely interested because I just know it's not going to be good. I'd rather just give me the Netflix shows, 3 seasons of Daredevil, 2 seasons of The Punisher, and I'm good. I don't really need anything else. Maybe the first season of Jessica Jones, because that had Kilgrave. That was cool.
Oh yeah, he made the show, or he made that season.
But like, that's about it. I could do away with literally everything else.
Yeah, I'd be content with just Daredevil and the Punisher. Whatever. The thing is, I wonder if they want to sort of continue the story of Daredevil season 3.
I don't think so, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think after She-Hulk, I don't see them continuing his story. I think they're just gonna pick up after She-Hulk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just like, he's born again, he's whatever,
Yeah.
I don't think they would even try to continue that story.
Do you think She-Hulk actually do you think She-Hulk essentially affected their decision to remove these writers and directors?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I'm very confused as to why they would get rid of them. Because, like I said, to me,
especially when the writer's strike just ended.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. Like usually when that happens, right? That's because there's a disagreement somewhere in the direction of the show, right? So I guess I'm just curious, like, what is that disagreement? Like, what exactly? Like, what were the writers and directors planning on doing that Disney said, no, we can't do this,
right,
and fired them? Because they also, by the way, it said, at least in the wording of it, was that they were fired, right? They didn't quit. They didn't walk off the set. They just were fired. So, I mean,
they were removed.
Yeah. So that's also different too. Cause like, I remember Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, right? I mean, they went through, what was it? 2 directors or at least 1, right? Who was Rise of Skywalker? Right, it was like Colin.
Right, it was Colin Trevorrow that was going to be.
Trevorrow.
Yeah, he was supposed to, because originally it was J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson, and then Colin Trevorrow. But I guess due to creative differences, which we all found out that he just wanted Luke to be like a main character, if not the main character of his movie. So he let go because of that.
Yeah. Well, but I was gonna say, for him, I think it was, what was he fired or did he walk away?
Well, he left due to creative differences. So in other words, the studio, Kathleen Kennedy, didn't like what he was doing, so they forced him to walk.
Okay, he was like, So I was gonna say, like, is that similar in this case? Like, were they going in a direction that they, that Disney didn't like?
I don't think so. Honestly, to fire all of them though. Like, I mean, really, to fire all of them. You mean to tell me there are more writers and directors out there that share our opinions on, the treatment of Marvel? right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think She-Hulk kind of proved that they knew what they wanted to do with Daredevil. So now they're just doing a clean slate. They want to rewrite everything. I think at the end of the day, it's not. It's I personally think it has something to do with She-Hulk. I really do, because people hated. That was one thing that a majority, maybe not everyone, but a majority of people hated about that show was Daredevil.
Mhm.
You know, so I don't think it had anything to do um with like creative differences necessarily.
Mm.
There's just they looked at She-Hulk, they're like, oh shit, like this is gonna fail, you know. So there, I don't know. We'll see. Uh, it could end up worse than what they originally planned. Who knows? But
I mean, I think a bunch of shows got canceled. Didn't like Ironheart and like Echo, like weren't those shows canceled?
Ironheart is actually finished. Ironheart's finished.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm gonna fact check this, but apparently Ironheart is set to release in like 2028.
What? Why? My God.
Yeah. Let me fact check this. Ironheart's release date could arrive early mid 2024, but that was back in July. See, this is actually newer news. So I'm trying to find. Yeah. Um. But regardless, it sounds to me like they want to try and um they're not trying to release this anytime soon.
Yeah.
But that being said, I guess we can talk about the potential of the MCU being rebooted.
Really? The MCU
Have
be
have
rebooted?
you heard about this?
No. I mean, like I said, I heard there was some of the shows were being canceled. Like I think they were gonna make like an Agatha show, and I forget. They released a bunch of shows they were gonna do, but I heard they got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about a reboot.
So
Let's.
I didn't read this article. I just pulled up a random article, but apparently this is actually new. Newer, I guess. This article came out in September, like the end of September, so not that far away.
Okay.
Once it pulls up here. But Avengers Secret Wars, new details emerge about Marvel Studios' plans for a full-blown MCU reboot. Let's see what this has to say. The multiverse saga hasn't been quite as consistent as the Infinity Saga, and it's still not clear where Marvel Studios is taking us with this era of storytelling. Realities, variants, blah 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 blah. Yes. Piecing together the many rumors, it sounds like Kang the Conqueror will be with the Beyonder, likely another Kang variant. Let's see if I can get to the point here. Audio scoopers have chimed in to reiterate that Avenger. Can you get to the fucking point? Can we please just get to the damn point?
It says it said something about Secret Wars being potentially the thing to reboot the Marvel universe to include the X-Men.
Yeah.
So I guess
Let's
that's the
see.
point.
Did it say that on here?
Yeah.
It previously,
Yeah, that first
it's
paragraph, piecing together.
previously been
Yeah.
said that the latter movie will reboot the MCU with Earth 616 replaced by a new sacred. Yeah. Yeah. So what full reboot, or do you think they're just in reference of the X-Men? Can you hear me?
Sorry, you were cutting out for a sec there.
Oh.
So
What are your initial thoughts? Do you think they're gonna do a complete reboot, or are they gonna just reboot it in a way to have the X-Men?
I think more the latter. I think that if they were to reboot it, I think it would be like, I think it would be a subtle reboot. Like they might change a couple things here and there, like little things throughout, but for the most part, I think it would pretty much, things would be the same, except now you have like the X-Men. You know, and like I said,
Right.
I could see them changing a couple little things, like maybe I don't know. You know, I don't have I'm trying to I don't even know. I can't even give an example. I was gonna say like someone has like a daughter instead of a son, but I don't even know who, if anyone even has. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like I could see them changing little things like that, like maybe like the gender of a certain hero or character or something, or instead of, I don't know, Tony dying during Endgame, maybe he died during Infinity War or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can see them changing things like that, but I don't see it being major where like I don't see any actual consequence of a reboot other than adding in the X-Men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Personally.
Do you think it's possible they could go like the route that the Flash went in, where they reboot it, but like it's still technically canon? It's just now they're in a different timeline.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of could, because I mean that's what Secret Wars is, right? It's like a bunch of universes coming together, and then you know you get one universe. Like you clash all these different things together, and you get one universe. So I mean, I can see that. I just don't know what, to be honest, they would change.
Yeah.
Like I can't see, like, other than maybe like different like maybe like someone else playing Captain America or something. Let's see. I don't even know if that. Yeah, I don't know. I was just about to say like maybe they would like in this newer universe. It's like, oh, we have like someone else being Iron Man now. You know, just to bring back the character.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I don't see them really doing that, because I also think that's the whole point of Ironheart, is to replace Iron Man. You know what I mean? So I don't see that making any sense.
Right. So
I could. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I could see something like the Flash happening, where it's like, you know, we get a new universe technically and whatever, but the only real consequence I see is just the X-Men being added in.
Right. So what does that look like in your eyes? So let's say, you know, we're a few movies into the MCU with the X-Men included. What does that look like to you?
I think at first they would keep the X-Men separate. I could see that for a while.
Like individual movies, or
yeah, just have like X-Men movie, like, you know, movies with X-Men characters just kind of doing their own thing, you know, similar to like the Eternals. You know, I can kind of see that. It's like, yeah, it's in the universe, but you don't actually interact with anyone or anything, you know. I can kind of see that with the X-Men.
Yeah.
And then I think eventually, you know, in the comics, there's an arc where it's like the Avengers versus X-Men. And I could see that being the next like big event, you know, kind of like Civil War Part 2. It's like now we have this.
Right.
I think that would be like the thing that they're building to.
Well, I'm curious to see. Do you know much about Kang?
A little bit.
Um, do you know he's related to? Do you know who he's related to?
Yeah.
He's the descendant of Reed Richards.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think, given who they have playing Kang, do you think they're going to make some changes to Reed Richards?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like on one hand, I could absolutely see them make a change to Reed, right? Race swap him because he's supposed to be the smartest character in the universe. So you know, I could see them race swapping him, but at the same time, I could also see them keeping him as regular Reed and then race swapping Sue, like Sue Storm, you know, and then there you go. Now you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have like the interracial couple. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I can see that. Either way, we're not going to get the traditional Fantastic Four.
No. No.
I don't. Have we even ever got a traditional Fantastic Four in these movies? I mean, realistically, I guess we did.
I mean, the old like Jessica Alba.
I mean,
That's probably the closest you're gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
Because it's either that or Fan Four Stick.
Yikes. Yeah. Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch.
Yep. Even though him and fucking Sue are supposed to be brother and sister.
Yeah, but she in that movie she was adopted.
Why?
I don't know.
Why go through the trouble? Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't.
Let's see. What do you?
I don't
think of
like where this. What's that?
What do you think about if they add the X-Men in?
I think it's going to be a jumbled mess. The person spearheading the X-Men. I think it was Victoria Alonso. I think that's who it is that's in charge of the X-Men, or she's in charge of something. I thought maybe it's DC. I really can't remember, but someone made a comment saying that the title X-Men is outdated.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do. Yeah.
There was also a rumor. I don't know if it was actually confirmed or what, but they were gonna do their first X-Men movie, but it was just gonna be called Mutants or The Mutants or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see them doing something stupid.
They also wanted to race swap Magneto.
I mean, that's just racist.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Yeah, this really isn't looking good. Honestly, I would prefer they just let the X-Men go. But at the end of the day, we're still getting Deadpool 3, right? I think Deadpool 3 is going to be their way of bringing the X-Men in.
That's That's very true too. That's a possibility with the TVA, being confirmed and all that. So
Yeah, I do think because Deadpool's going to mess up something with the timeline, and boom, you got the X-Men. I think they are going to use Deadpool 3 as a way to implement the X-Men, because it's awfully convenient that we have Ms. Marvel, who she's actually confirmed as the first mutant, which makes no sense, by the way, considering she gets her powers wearing these gauntlets. She wears gauntlets or whatever to actually use her abilities, but now she's actually like a mutant. They confirmed that at the end of the show, I think, in like the last episode.
It's also stupid because she's more like, I don't know. It's also weird because in that show, it was her powers were different too. It was almost like magic based. Like you said, I guess it comes with whatever the hell she was wearing.
I thought it was like alien tech or something like that.
Or maybe something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't know because I didn't watch the show, but
now apparently it's she's a mutant.
Yeah. So it's weird to me that she's a mutant in the MCU, but the mutants don't exist in the MCU. So I don't understand how they're going to go about that. So
yeah, I don't know. It's also kind of weird that she's the first mutant. She's the first mutant in the MCU, but it's just weird because it's mutants are supposed to. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I was just gonna say it's like mutants are supposed to it's just a gene. It's a mutation of humans. So it's like you said, it's like, does that mean there's a different version of X-Men in the MCU? And then what, are they going to just clash with the version that we know of? The movies? Who knows?
Yeah. I have no idea. But it's just it's senseless to do this. This whole multiverse thing that they've been doing, it's actually impressive to me how they've managed to make all of these movies about the multiverse, but none of them have an effect on anything. It's actually quite impressive when you think about it. Because look, you got Spider-Man No Way Home, easily the best one they've done since Avengers Endgame, which isn't saying much, by the way.
I was not saying much.
You got Loki, both seasons of Loki now. You have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You have what's the other one that they did? I guess we could include She-Hulk, but not really, because that's like.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be.
That's more fourth wall breaking. Okay, we'll leave that one out. What else did they do that was to do with the multiverse? I guess the What If series, that animated series, that's technically canon. Actually, yeah, that would be canon because they actually got fucking Captain.
That's true.
Captain Carter. They brought Captain Carter and Doctor Strange.
I was gonna say that's actually very true.
Yeah. So I mean, all this stuff is dealing with the multiverse, but none of it really has an impact on anything. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look. Thor: Love and Thunder didn't have anything.
That didn't do anything.
Black Panther didn't have anything. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yes. Yep. There's that. Yeah.
That one had it. Yeah, that seems to be, I think, the last one for now.
Yeah, for now.
So yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, they've opened up the multiverse so many times between their movies and shows, and none of them have done anything to the overall story. I mean,
quite literally nothing.
Right. Like, you go back to the first phase of the MCU, you know, everything was leading up to a team up. Like, even if you didn't want another team up movie, why are we still making these movies in the universe if nothing's coming of it? You know what I mean? If nothing's going to come of it, then what's the point? What is the actual point of any of this?
What is the end game?
Right. But no, like, you had Iron Man. The funny thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with Fury's Big Week, Nick Fury's Big Week, but in Nick Fury's Big Week, it actually is showing you, it kind of tells you, okay, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor all take place within that 1 week, which is which takes place a year before the first Avengers movie. But at the end of the day, all of that is leading up to the Avengers teaming up, you know? And actually the very end where Captain America wakes up, that's part of in the first Avenger, that's part of Fury's that's part of Fury's Big Week. So yeah. The thing is, we've had how many years with these movies and shows? I mean, Avengers Endgame came out in 2019. It is now 2023. We're coming up on the end of 2023. And we still have nothing. You know, they started doing all this stuff after Avengers Endgame. And there's still nothing going on. There's no end in sight for this. So I don't know. I just don't understand it anymore. But I don't know where Dan went.
Sorry, I'm just putting drops in my eyes.
Okay. You just ain't saying nothing, and then you're just disappearing on me.
I mean, that's just God don't like you.
Right. We may have a guest popping in here shortly. So that'll be exciting. But sorry, I'm trying to I just got distracted because you use a bitch. I do want to talk okay, actually I'll hold off on that topic. Say something, Dan. Okay, you're not saying anything. Cool. But yes, there is one topic I want to wait just to see if he is gonna pop in, because I think it'd be a cool thing for, considering this person would definitely love to talk about it. He and I are very passionate about physical media, so I want him to be a part of that. Dan, if you could shoot him a message about that, because I would like him to be a part of that if he wants to join.
Message.
If he wants to join, because I'm trying to get the next topic ready here. But yeah, I do want to talk about the possibility of Universal. I don't know how much you have heard of this, but Universal could buy Warner Brothers. I don't know if you knew about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, not really, but like we talked about earlier before the show.
See, again, just articles at random here. Let's see. Oh, God, this is not working out. Okay. But yeah, apparently there are talks of Universal potentially in the next couple years buying Warner Brothers. Now, when you hear that, what comes to your mind?
First thing I think of, honestly, is maybe they'll do better with DC.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that.
You know what I
But the
mean?
thing
Like-
is, so with Warner Brothers, so far we've seen nothing but garbage from Warner Brothers, and it's not just directed towards DC, but like Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings. Well, maybe not The Lord of the Rings so much, but not anymore. Unless you want to talk about The Hobbit, which I do. But
Hobbit.
no, the thing is, they have not done right by the fans in quite some time. The Hobbit was just a shit show. The Fantastic Beasts movies that they've been doing, they haven't worked. Nothing. They have proven to us that they have no interest in making movies for us, for the fans, right?
Mhm.
So I find it very interesting that there is a possibility that Universal could buy Warner Brothers. The thing is, would they still be just as woke? I would like to think not, because I haven't really seen too much outside of maybe the Fast and Furious franchise where things have actually been woke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even then, I don't even think Fast and Furious is that woke, really.
Yeah, no, I guess not really. I mean, like, there's always the occasional like woman power scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not, doesn't like throw it in your face. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, it's hard to say. Now, I will say this. Universal has done really well with their parks. Universal has done an amazing job with their theme park. They've rivaled Disney. They've actually put Disney to shame. They have, I mean, we watch like Geeks and Gamers, right? Universal Universal loves when Geeks and Gamers show up to oh boy. Well, we got a special guest here. Oh God, why do you have to have your face so close?
Boomer himself.
So close to the camera. Oh my God,
No.
what is that? I don't.
Hey.
I don't even know because my Facebook.
You on
is
your
my
phone?
old phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my Facebook is on my old phone, and I'm like, I mean, you guys saw me. I have my iPad and my freaking two phones yesterday. So I don't know, going back and copying the link from my old phone to my new phone or to my iPad. Pain in the ass. So anyway, Universal buying Warner Brothers. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
great.
what are your thoughts on that? Oh, by the way, for all like 0 of you watching, state your name
Melissa's
and your
watching.
profession and state address and your home address, please.
Yes.
What's that?
Your social security
Yes,
number,
post your home address and your name and social security number.
Well, my name is Kyle Big Peeper, and I live at 42069 Kirkhoff Road.
Nice.
Write that down.
Well, I'm glad you're finally here.
Yes.
Melissa and I've been watching secretively for the last like 3 minutes before I hopped on. So,
that's nice. I'm glad. Glad to know. I'm glad to hear that. But so how are you feeling from last night?
Okay.
Yeah, I woke up feeling like shit, but that's because I was still drinking like around like 5 o'clock.
Nice.
So
yeah, no, I've just been sleeping all day, to be honest with you.
Yeah, kind of same.
So, yeah, we took Lady for a walk, but other than that, like, I came back and fell asleep on the couch again. So
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
whatever.
Still waking up.
Yeah. Did I show you guys how I do this? How do I flip?
Oh, technology's not his friend.
No, it's not. Let's get that clipped.
All right.
Oh shit. Hello?
Hello?
What is that? Oh, hey.
It just shows me. Oh, it just showed me in the room for a second. I don't know what's going on.
I was just picking
Yeah,
on you.
I have no clue what's going
I was like, yeah, your video froze, so I guess you just can't do
on.
whatever you're gonna do.
Oh.
So
All right,
we're in the middle of talking about Universal potentially buying Warner Brothers. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good. Potentially good. Like Dan said, I think it might mean good news for DC. I like Warner Brothers as a studio. Otherwise, though, like unfortunately, so like these that that have any significance. So I guess it'd just be DC that I'd be excited to see. I mean, honestly, I think they need to gut DC completely and just start over again. I mean, same thing with Marvel, to be honest. But because DC's in like a huge problem. Like, someone wants to, and then
You there?
did I go away?
Yeah, you froze again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my laggy. Hold on. Let me try joining with my iPad.
Okay.
I'm gonna try joining with my iPad.
Okay.
All right. Let's just not invite him back.
Thank God. No, this is good. Bring Kyle on more.
Hell yeah. Now,
I do agree with him though. Like he was saying, it's like, dude, Marvel and DC both, but especially DC. Like you just got to just gut the whole thing and restart from scratch.
Right. I honestly 100% agree with that. I think they need to do just a clean slate of DC. I wish Disney would do the same thing with Marvel. They don't have any interest in doing that. The thing is, we still have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming out, right? The problem I have with that is because we're doing a complete overhaul of DC, they're going to lose money off of this movie. Because at the end of the day, this movie isn't going to matter at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it's not canon to what James Gunn's doing with the DC universe, then what's the point in even going to see it?
Well, it also has the fact that Amber Heard's in it,
right,
to work against it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, yeah, I don't know.
At least with the Snyder cut of Justice League, at least there was hope that they could follow that timeline. But at the same time, after so many years of not seeing Zack Snyder's original vision, and then we finally get his original vision, I mean, it's at least that made more sense. It makes no sense because they were finishing this movie up when they decided to just completely reboot everything. So again, what's the point in any of it?
Yeah, and like another thing too about the Zack Snyder thing is that I feel like with Zack Snyder, it's like we were all kind of behind it because of the tragedy of what happened to him and stuff. So it's like we wanted to get the full real version, regardless of any continuity.
Right.
But now with like Aquaman 2, it is odd that it's just like, okay, if this isn't really canon to anything because the whole universe is going to be rebooted, then yeah, it's like, why would I care?
Right. Why should any of us care at this point?
I try not to, but then, you know, I really wish I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Zack Snyder. I really thought he had something going there.
Yeah, I mean, some of his ideas were a little a little out there.
Yeah.
But
Regardless, I think it is so annoying to me. Okay, it is so annoying because like you have the Snyderverse people defending it, but like, so the Snyderverse people and the anti-Snyderverse people are the most annoying people in my eyes, because you have people who are just like, oh, everything that Zack Snyder was planning on doing, everything that he did in these movies was perfect. Batman versus Superman was a masterpiece. It was definitely better than anything that Marvel's ever done. Whatever. And it's like, not really. But then you have the people who hate Zack Snyder's vision, that pretty much even though you're trying to get them to understand why people like his vision, it's like, no, that movie was shit. There was nothing redeemable about it. Oh, it's like you can't even have a conversation with these people, because like they either love everything or they hate everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to look to get.
Wants me to text him the link.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. All right. Well, you talk while I text the damn link. I'm actually going to go off camera real quick because I can't. There's a lot to type here. Hang on.
Oh, he can't do it.
Fuck you.
God, this is what happens when boomers are running the show.
I'm not the fucking boomer.
Look, I mean, how old are you now? Because, we got to mention everybody. Today is his birthday. He is the birthday boy.
Oh, yeah,
He's
that's right. I forgot about
35.
that. I'm not even close to fucking. You're a fucking dick.
No, it's no, you're what, 29? Jesus.
I don't even know. It's just a number.
I mean, even just saying it out loud is just like, it's kind of insulting.
Good.
And the worst part is that Kyle, the guy we had on earlier, is even older. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, he's like fucking 40.
How is it even possible?
But
I'm the young buck. I'm just chilling,
you're like a year younger than me, so I don't even want to hear it.
Like a year and a couple months. Okay, I'm 27. Well, just saying. I mean,
A year and a couple months.
The young buck,
I should have got ice cream today. That's what I should have done for my birthday. I was talking to my grandmother before the show, and she's like, "Oh, you should get yourself some ice cream." It's like, yeah, I know. Probably should.
Yeah, I think Kyle texted me. It's like, I didn't even realize the fucking date. It's like, we should have got you like a cake or something.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about it until my dad texted me at like fucking 3 a.m. this morning. What's up?
Hey, Kyle.
Wow, that's so rude. So Kyle, just remember, because we're live on YouTube, you cannot say the N-word.
Oh, dang it. I'm just kidding. I would never say
Yeah,
that.
you think that they need to do a complete reboot? What?
I said I would never. Nothing. I'm not going to repeat.
Nothing. We wouldn't say anything.
Oh, darn. I guess we had some technical difficulties. I'll bring it back before he actually thinks there's something wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't notice how messed up my hair was.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Look at you. You're a mess.
Yeah, well,
Ah,
But yeah, so you think it's a good thing that
Yeah.
Universal could. I mean, this is for like this is just a possibility. It's not saying that it's actually happening, but if it were to happen, you think it would be a good move.
Yeah, I think it'd be a positive move. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think Warner Brothers knows what they're doing as a whole.
No,
Um,
I agree.
I mean, well, I don't know. I don't think Universal does either, though, because Universal just did the Wokesercist. So,
oh, really?
Was that Universal?
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that was from Universal.
Yeah. So Universal
Wow.
paid, like, bought like the rights for The Exorcist for like $400 million or something like that.
Oh God.
And it was the new one. And I'm not gonna lie, I was semi intrigued by it just because.
I had no interest.
Yeah, we just did the Universal. We just went to Universal Studios, and that was one of the haunted, haunted mansions, haunted house things.
Haunted houses, yeah.
Was The Exorcist, and then we went through that, and I was like, ugh. But then I also heard
You didn't like it?
There's only a couple. I think that Halloween Horror Nights at Universal is kind of overrated to begin with. There are a couple good horror houses or whatever the hell they're called, but like one of them was like I'm backwards. So all my actions are incorrect. Anyway, Creature from the Black Lagoon, like that was the only good one. Was like they didn't have Creature from the Black Lagoon, but they had like the old Universal horror monsters. They had like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and like who else was it? Like the Phantom of the Opera and stuff. That was a cool one. And then Last of Us was pretty cool, but yeah. Anyway, trash talk. I guess it's
not trash talk. Wait, so you said you watched the new Exorcist movie?
No, I didn't. I just heard that it was trash. Like I heard it was like woke trash, like a bunch of people said. And not to promote other YouTube channels here. But was it Red Letter Media? I don't know if you guys have ever watched them. I'm sure there's people out there who'll be like, oh yeah, they're incels or something, whatever. But I think they do a pretty job of being like objective, and they're not political really and all that stuff. But they just released a video that I watched on it, and they were talking about how it's gotten so far removed from like, and Red Letter Media bashes like a lot of Christian movies, but like they were talking about like with the Exorcist movie, like the problem is like it's a sequel, but the thing is like it's the same exact thing. And what they've done is like they've done that with like all the Exorcist sequels. Like the whole point of the movie is not a little girl being possessed. The whole point of the movie is like the demon itself, but then also like how the characters, like the priest, like reacts to it, and like what he's dealing with, and the mother, and blah 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 and all that. And then also it's like the whole underlying themes of like Christianity, a demon in the real world / modern era, and then like all these other different things. Like what does it mean to be a Christian, or what does it mean to like believe in these things or deal with these things, and blah 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 blah. And anyway, they talked about that, how the new Exorcist movie, they're so worried about being like woke and all this other stuff that they don't hit on any of the actual thematic, or any of the themes of the previous one. And then they were making fun of course, like how they had to like, they did like, oh, they were like, how do we check as many boxes off as we can? And they're like, well, it has to be another girl that's possessed. And then it's like, oh, well, we have to have a black girl. And then it's like, well, why don't we include two? So it's funny. So I didn't watch it, but I've heard from multiple sources that it's too like politically correct for just a horror film. So
that's lame.
Yeah,
that's lame. What sucks too is like you kind of said, it's like I feel like a lot of times they focus on the flashy, shallow parts of a movie, where it's like you said, like, oh, the demon possessing a girl, right? Let's do that again.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but like, what about the other thematical story, beats? Like, what about the priest? Like you said, going through, taking care of his mom and stuff. Like, there's, there's a lot more to it than just the literal demon possessing a kid.
Well, like and that's the thing too, is like they do that a lot with different movies, is like with sequels, right? Is they like, they think, oh well, this movie was really good, and like let's make it. But they just do it in a very shallow, like that's how they would make a sequel. So most of the time, they just look at it very shallow, like one-dimensionally, and be like, oh well, this is what it was about. Let's repeat those same beats, but even if we do it a little different, it should be very successful. But in reality, like it's not the surface level stuff that makes a good film all the time necessarily, but the underlying themes or character development and story behind it and blah 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 blah. So yeah.
The thing is with horror movies, you pretty much just say it, like horror movies these days are just so damn shallow. I mean, I was actually kind of looking forward to Insidious: The Red Door.
All right.
I was looking forward to Insidious: The Red Door, but I don't know. I felt like they kind of lost focus. Like they bring the characters back from the first two movies, but there's no. It doesn't feel like an Insidious movie. It just feels like a generic Conjuring movie at this point. Like they're turning the Insidious franchise into the Conjuring franchise. Essentially, they're coming out with a spinoff for that one. If you look at like the Conjuring 3, that was one of the more generic movies that I've seen. It didn't even feel like a Conjuring movie, like at all. You know what I mean? And I've also noticed, because I just watched It Chapter 2. I rewatched that recently, like a few nights ago. And I couldn't help but notice that a lot of these horror movies are starting to have the sort of slapstick humor that the MCU has.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I noticed that. I forget what movie it was that I watched recently, but I felt like, what movie was it that I just watched? But yes, I agree. I think I saw it somewhere. I've been seeing it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's just a horror problem. I think it's probably starting to happen across Hollywood as a whole. And because I've been watching a couple movies lately, and I have noticed that as well. Like newer movies, they try like too hard to insert that like slapstick humor. Like they try to follow the Marvel formula or the even Star Wars formula, because even Star Wars was doing it, right? Because again, Disney, where they're like, oh, we have to insert joke here, and it's like, just make a movie. Like
everything. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say not everything has to be a joke, and I really wish I just watched. I mean, I watched like a movie like every damn night, but I really wish I could remember what movie. It was a more recent movie. I'd noticed that. I noticed exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. But the thing is, it seems like they want everything to be connected to everything nowadays. You know what I mean? I'm okay with them having little Easter eggs that, oh, this could be in the same universe. Because back then it used to, when they did stuff like that, it used to be like, oh, that'd be so cool if they did a crossover between
it used to mean something.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see like Freddy is in the Friday the 13th universe, like they're connected, you know what I mean? And you would be like, oh, that's so cool. I would love to see a crossover between those two, and you do. And it was awesome, Not everyone thought it was awesome, but for horror fans, that's pretty awesome.
Right.
And same with the Avengers, that was unheard of for a comic book movie, like a big budget Hollywood comic book movie. That was huge. And now it's like that's all we're getting, and it kind of defeats the purpose. What the hell is even that? Godzilla?
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah. Sorry.
Ew.
Continue.
That's so gay. But no, I'm just saying, everything's now crossing over, and it's getting annoying to the point where it's like you're kind of, I don't know.
Well, actually, that's very like
Relevant.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I was actually gonna say, but with that being said, it's like Godzilla versus King Kong, or whatever. I mean, that's another thing because they're doing another fucking Godzilla versus King Kong movie coming out next year, and like, obviously, I love Godzilla. Like, I'm not gay. I like Godzilla. So if you don't like Godzilla, you're gay. Nate.
I approve.
But yeah, no. So like, obviously, I love Godzilla. I love the original King Kong versus Godzilla. Phenomenal. Love that movie. Team Kong hashtag. But anyway, they did the remake now with the legendary stuff. Godzilla versus what?
No.
Anyway, they did the legendary Godzilla, versus King Kong. And, it's like, okay, cool, whatever. I didn't think it was that amazing, but whatever.
That's because your boy lost.
No, whatever.
Get wrecked.
And then anyway, so but now they're doing another one. And it's like, why? Why is there another Godzilla versus King Kong? Because it kind of loses some of its luster, because the whole point of it was Godzilla versus King Kong. Godzilla, you take two giant iconic monsters that hold a lot of weight, literally, but also like, within the film world. And it's like, oh, let's pit them together. And especially because they haven't been pit together, against each other since the original movie. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Like, I was super excited for this one. Then now this next one they're making, it's like Godzilla X Kong or Godzilla X Kong, and it's like a new empire.
I hate that.
Like,
well, they're also not even fighting in the next one,
right?
Because like the teaser, you see like a big
what?
Like not a monkey or orangutan.
Yeah, it's like orangutan.
I guess an orangutan, but yeah, he looks like he has like lightning powers, like electric powers or something. So that's good. It seems like that's obviously the villain, and like Godzilla and Kong are going to team up.
Are they like
like in the teaser, I think he's sitting on a throne, and like you see like a bolt of lightning shoot down or something like that. I forget.
Well, that doesn't mean he has electric powers. That just means like.
People were kind of theorizing that, like in the original,
like a King Kong
versus Godzilla, he had that power.
Yeah, that's why I think that's stupid as shit. Because King Kong had like electric power, which was of course because it was originally supposed to be, was it Frankenstein versus Godzilla or something? So they took that from Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm. It was originally supposed to be Frankenstein's monster versus Godzilla.
How does that work?
He's a really big one.
Yeah, they were
that's possible.
Yeah, they were originally going to have. Well, actually, I think what it was it Frankenstein versus Godzilla, and then it turned into Frankenstein versus Kong, and then they realized like I don't know. There's something. There was originally Frankenstein's monster was supposed to be originally the guy that fought Godzilla, I think, and what they originally had it planned was like Dr. Frankenstein created like the Frankenstein's monster, but what happened is when he sewed like the people together or creatures or whatever, like it would grow. So it started off small, but then it started to grow. I don't know, and because like electricity would shock it or something. There's like artwork of what it looked like, concept art. Anyway, but then they were like, well, shit, we can't like, Frankenstein versus Godzilla. They're like, I don't know if that'll work, blah, blah, blah. And then blah, blah, it evolved into King Kong versus Godzilla.
Right.
So, yeah. And they kept and then the original movie, they kept the lightning powers from Frankenstein. And that's why in the newest one, I was like super, like they kind of alluded to it, but I was also kind of pissed about it when like the humans had to save King Kong like 5 fucking times. And that was like so fucking stupid. But when they used the ship to like bring him back to life, what's that called, a defibrillator, like I thought that was kind of like an homage, I thought maybe to like the electric powers, but I thought he was gonna like wake up and be like all electrified and stuff, which would have been cool. But again, I didn't like that movie that much, so whatever.
Yeah. Now I'm curious to see. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. But how do you feel about when they do a versus movie and they don't have a definitive winner?
I usually find it lame.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expected. Usually if you're gonna bring two major characters fighting together, you have two different competing fan bases. So you try to win them both over by making the fight like neutral. You know what I mean? Like don't declare like a definitive winner. But I don't know. I like when a movie declares a winner. When you actually see like, oh yeah, Godzilla beat King Kong. He's obviously better.
Yeah, I mean, like if they were what?
I had to correct him. King Kong beat Godzilla, but it's okay.
Sure.
Oh, Godzilla needed to get revived, right?
To be fair, Godzilla just like pulls powers out of his ass. Just when it's convenient.
He's Godzilla.
There's that.
but yeah, I think for the most part, I like when I can't even think of multiple instances of a versus movie actually declaring a winner.
Yeah,
it just never happens.
It's just BS because it's like a cop out. I think it's like a cop out. Like, okay, like to be objective with it, not like biased, but like, okay, like if you took Godzilla versus King Kong and you took the original iterations of them, like obviously King Kong's gonna lose. Like, you know what I mean? So they had to buff him up for the original, and they also had to buff him up for this one. But the thing is like, it's like, but even in this like new Godzilla versus Kong, they still like they said like during the one fight, like, oh, it looks like Kong wins round 2, and it was like not even a fight. It was pretty stupid. Anyway, it was just it's just dumb, but like they didn't even make it like entertaining. And then the same thing with like Batman versus Superman. It's just like, I don't know. It's a cop out to me. It's kind of like if I don't know. They every versus movie they're kind of like, that's what I like going back to horror though, like Freddy versus Jason. Back when they first started doing those fighting movies or versus movies, like they did Alien versus Predator, they did Freddy versus Jason. Like technically, they did have winners. Like Freddy versus Jason was Jason, and then Alien versus Predator was Predator. And I love that. I was like, oh yeah, sweet, cool. And obviously I'm biased because both those winners were the ones I preferred to win. But then I always thought was really fucking cool. Am I allowed to say fucking? I thought was really what I thought was really cool was like I loved how both of those films like kind of alluded. One, it was like sequel bait, but two was also like a literally a wink to the audience, like with Freddy's head.
Yeah.
Like as Jason was carrying his head, like Freddy's like, hey, So I love that, and then I love at the end of Alien versus Predator, they stuck the Predator on the ship, and then like all of a sudden his dead body, like an alien popped out of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, okay, like
unfortunately the next movie wasn't cool.
Well, they made another movie.
I don't know, I couldn't see the whole thing. I couldn't see any of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember watching theaters, and I was like, even watching that second one, Requiem, as a kid, like in the movie theaters. I wasn't a kid, but I was younger, and I was like, even then I was like, yeah, this should have been on like the Sci-Fi Channel or something as like a B.
Well, like the acting wasn't even that good. The acting was garbage, and like I'm sitting there, like I even watched it on my projector. It's dark. The room was dark. It had to be because it's a projector. But like, even then, I'm still squinting because I can't see what's going on because the scenes are way too dark. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it was hurting my eyes.
Well, going back to Godzilla, I keep going back and forth, but that was my problem with the 2014 Godzilla. It was black. But see, again, that's also a lot of these movies. They do that for CGIs, make a lot of the movies at nighttime so that they can hide the CGI better.
Yeah.
Stop doing fucking CGI and go back to practical effects. But anyway, I was gonna say with the Alien versus Predator thing, the second one, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, that one just sucked. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the first Alien versus Predator, honestly, I think is good. I think way too many people give it a bad, give it crap, undeserved crap. Like, I don't think it's as bad as everyone says. Everyone always says like Alien versus Predator sucked. The only like gripes I had with it were like that the other two Predators die like almost right away. I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I didn't think it's that bad of a movie. Like, if you think about it, it makes sense. Like, it's in Antarctica or whatever, and it's like, and then it gives them like an arena, if you will, to fight in, because if you think about it prior to that movie, like put yourself in that time period, like in real life, like when that movie came out, like all the prior films, like aliens hadn't been seen by humans until like the first Alien movie, which is like 2000 and like 100 or what, I don't know the time or the date, but it kind of gave it away for the movie to happen during modern times, but at the same time, like, because like no one's aware of what happened there, you know what I mean? So it would ruin continuity of like, oh well, humans have seen aliens before. It's like, no, we haven't, other than that one incident in Antarctica, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. But even at the end of Requiem, though, even though humans did see aliens in that movie, they nuked the whole city.
Right.
Like there are no survivors, essentially.
Right. Yeah, Requiem was stupid.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
So was
I didn't really care for I didn't care for the idea at first, but like in my head canon, I think it's kind of cool now. But like the whole idea of like a pyramid where like the predators every like 100 years will summon the aliens just so they can fight them. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Oh wait, that's actually Charles' real face.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you even got the mask for it. That's awesome.
That's cool.
It's a collection, Predator collection.
Can you actually put it on?
No, but it's like
okay.
Like a little statue thing, but it's speaking of physical collectors, it's
Still, that's awesome.
It collects all the Predator movies. So
yeah. You got a lot of the what do you call it? Memorabilia, I guess. Would that be the right word for it? You got a lot of that stuff, and I'd like to have more stuff like that. It's just, it's never been my thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like with that one, like, I mean, I just like I collect like all, like I have like a stack of movies right here in my office, right, that I need to like go through and organize and stuff. But like I've always kind of liked like the special editions and stuff like that. But like I guess you could call it like memorabilia, but like I don't know. It's when all these physical editions go away, we won't have this stuff. I was gonna say, here's another. I just got this one. It's like a giant book. A lot of people don't like this stuff, but it's like a book.
What is that?
It's all the original horror films in 4K. Or like
that's cool. Really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
And then like you can flip through in the front. Damn it, this camera's really fucking me up. Like the front is like different, like it tells you about and stuff, but then in the back is the movies. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But the
real
Predator,
movie buff.
The Predator one I saw and I was like, I have to fucking have this Predator head.
Yeah.
So
man, you're a real movie buff.
Yeah. But I think that's a good.
That's what I wanted to show you guys earlier.
Cool.
Was I changed?
Okay.
I changed them all up for Halloween.
Jasper. Oh, that's cool, Godzilla.
That's awesome.
And then
what is that? Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers. Yes.
That's cool.
Oh, and I have it in my. Hold on 1 second. Oh wait, shit. Sorry, I don't mean to like derail trash talk.
No.
No, hey, that's okay.
This is like, can you see it? I turned it on, so.
Oh yeah.
It lights up. It's
that's so damn cool.
Yeah. So.
I like that.
But yeah, I just updated all of them. They were just other movie posters. I think I sent you guys before, but.
Oh yeah.
Now I got up all the Halloween ones. So.
Well, did you see this one right here?
Oh yeah.
Let me see.
Snap.
Yeah. And it doesn't show up that well, I guess, but
No, I
Yeah.
can see. It's cool.
uh,
Are you hanging it up?
I want to. I just don't have anything to hang it up with right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got a frame yesterday for it. So
Nice.
yeah.
What are you guys doing? Are you guys watching any? Have you guys watched any horror movies this week or this month yet?
I've been watching a lot on my own, but I'm showing
Yeah.
Dan the Chucky movies for the first time.
Okay, is that why you're wearing the shirt?
I just threw it on.
Oh.
No, it's just
But,
not to wear the same shirt twice, like me.
yeah.
What's that?
It's so he doesn't wear the same shirt twice, like me.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, from what? Yesterday or just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wore this yesterday too.
Yeah. I want to be different.
Melissa, that one viewer, Melissa, she doesn't know any different. You know.
Well, yeah. Well, she is a woman after all.
Oh, now it went down to 0
Yeah.
viewers.
Well, there it is. There.
Yep. Oh man, that one damn viewer. But I think that's a good, I mean, well, we kind of derailed it a little bit with the posters, but I'm just picking on you. But no, I think that's a good transition because I'm glad you hopped on because I do really want to talk about physical media and how Best Buy is removing all physical movies and physical discs for video games. So I definitely want to hear. I mean, Dan, I know you don't really care that much about it, but I would still like to hear you guys talk about it.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, Dan, it's your fault this is happening.
Me.
Your lack of caring for it.
Yeah. Maybe if you would have bought.
Find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah.
No.
I find your lack of physicality disturbing.
No.
Yeah, who wants to start it off?
I mean, I'm the least passionate about it, I think, so I'll go. I'll just for
Sure,
me,
just jump in, I guess.
yeah. I mean, look at me. No, my thing, I'm not a big fan of collecting physical media, movies and video games and stuff like I used to when I was younger, but as I get older, I'm much more. I prefer convenience. It's easier to just have digital. But I definitely understand why you would want to have the physical copy of things. I mean, you actually own it if you have the physical movie.
Right.
Versus just renting the lease or renting the the rights to actually play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like. I guess my biggest thing is I don't like that there's not an option. Like, I think you should always be able to just buy the physical copy if you want it. You know what I mean?
Right. It should definitely be an option, but not the only option.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you want to go digital, fine, go for it. But we shouldn't force people to only go digital. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but I think that's what they're all bitching about, like all these distributors and stuff. But that's the funny thing is like these guys are like wholesale or not wholesale. I mean, I get they wouldn't be considered the distributors, but they like are the sellers. These companies like Best Buy and stuff that sell these products. Like they're trying to say that the physical media only consists of like 4% of all movie sales and blah blah blah. And that's a whole load of horse shit. Because also like they're trying to clumping in. They're not like when it's like kind of like politics today. When it's convenient for them, they clump in like 4Ks with Blu-rays or DVDs or blah blah blah, and that's how they get their numbers and all that's horse shit. The reality of it is like there's still a huge market for these products, and the thing is also again like especially DVDs. Like I don't get DVDs just because it's like not to sound like a hipster tool bag, but it's like DVDs are old format for me. Like I'm like meh. I just
Nowadays it's basically like buying a VHS tape.
Right. And it's it's nice that DVDs sell the most. That's the thing is because for commonplace, like for common folk, if you will, that's what they buy. That most people buy DVDs because most people now, you, me, Dan, we might all be more familiar with Blu-ray or 4K because at least for me, like all of my like video game, not platforms, whatever. My video game devices always had like PS3, like it had Blu-ray, and then PS4 had Blu-ray and player, and then now PS5 and Xbox have 4K players, but technically they're not full 4K, but whatever, they still play 4K discs. But anyway, yeah, I think it's just convenient for them. They say it's only like 4% of their sales and blah blah, and that's why they want to phase all this shit out. But there's still a huge market for physical media, and I think collecting it, or collectors, is very important to collectors. And so they try to say, so Dan, like, having the option, they're trying to say that it's not worth it by the time they spend the money to. But again, Best Buy is not out here making these movies. Like, they're not the ones they're not the manufacturer. They're not out here making them. Now they have Best Buy exclusives. Like I actually have right here, like I have, this is a Best Buy exclusive steelbook. A lot of them are steelbooks. Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know if you guys ever watched that or heard of it, but like this was like a Best Buy or steelbook exclusive, or like a really hard to find steelbook for like the longest time. They just did a bunch of reprints, and that's the thing too, is like they're doing a whole bunch of reprints on these limited edition, collector's edition things. Like, well, if the money's not there, why are you doing reprints? Like, obviously you're making money if you're trying to distribute them and stuff like that. But anyway, to get to my point, like I just think it's bullshit. And like we were talking about last night, I think it's just a way for them to have control. It's all about control, because it's like at the end of the day, they can control your digital movie, and you don't physically own it, you don't physically have it. They can delete it at any time, they can make changes at any time. The physical media, it's like once you have this, I'm surprised they don't like update or require like Wi-Fi connection for your movie devices, or your devices that play movies, because they probably, like Disney would probably be going in and deleting stuff half the damn time off of your physical disc anyway, but like they do with video games. But I like having the physical thing because, they can't go back and, edit the movie from it's like from a historian point, perspective, Nate, like we were talking about last night, like you're preserving, history, if you will. And I get that, like they've also done retroactive, or like they've, for physical releases, they still edit things too. But then it's like, again, you have the choice. It's like, okay, well now this edition that just came out of like Lilo and Stitch, for example. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but like Lilo and Stitch, when it first came out, there was like in the theaters, like Lilo, like she crawled into what was it? The washing machine. Yeah. And then when Disney distributed the movie, they changed it to like a trash or a hamper, or like
it was like a pizza box.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was like this little cubby hole, and she just lifted up the pizza box.
Right. So it's like stuff like that that they changed. Now again, to normal person, like they probably don't give two shits about stuff like that. But to me, I think that's important. And again, like society today, like they want to get rid of things and delete things and destroy our past. But it's like, well, the past is there. We're aware of the past so history doesn't repeat itself. And when you remove those past problems, like Disney and the Song of the South, like, that might be a bad tasting movie, but it's like by removing that freedom of having it available or for people to see, you're kind of also telling, trying to pull it from people's minds so that, who's to know that we don't go the complete opposite or backtrack and come full circle and start doing stupid shit again. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like, what if so you remember that book? They actually turned into a movie, but like that book, To Kill a Mockingbird. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Do you think if there was an option to remake it, do you think there would be a lot of backlash for it to like make a modern movie about it? Keeping it intact with the language that was used in the book and everything. Do you think there would be a massive problem with that?
I don't know, because I mean, on one
if it's
hand,
faithful to the book.
Yeah, because on one hand, I mean, there's certain language that obviously, most people would not like.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it kind of
Go Unchained.
demonizes. But it also demonizes the villain, which is what they would like to do anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, unfortunately, I'm like, yeah, we have to point that out, and it's like demonize the villain. I mean, I don't really remember the book, if I'm being 100% honest. I know, like, wasn't there like a black man was accused of something that he didn't do?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, he was falsely accused, but everyone, based on the color of his skin, everyone wanted him condemned. Everyone wanted him to, be put away.
Right. Well, like, and that's the unfortunate thing is like, Dan, even like with what you just said, we're at a crossroads where it's like, you're like, well, that would demonize the villain. And it's like, well, I'm assuming it's a white guy, right? Is it like a white dude?
Right.
Southern white guy.
Yeah. So like you said, like Hollywood would love that. They would love that's part of the problem is like,
Right.
the reality of it is like you and I and Nate, like, that's the point of a villain, right? We're supposed to demonize them as a villain. So us normal viewers, like, we would usually just think, oh, it's just a villain. He's a bad guy because he's a villain. That's the point. But nowadays we're so like everything has to be politically correct, or they have to check off these diversity and inclusion boxes and blah blah blah. So then now our eyes are drawn to the fact that everything and everyone meets a certain criteria, is a certain color, is a certain LGBTQ or whatever, or disabled, crippled person or something. Excuse me, I think that was politically incorrect to use the word crippled, but whatever.
Canceled.
Oh, transabled. Yeah, transabled. But that's the problem is like now we notice those things, but it's like they have to check off all those boxes, and then two, villains you're supposed to feel sympathetic for. So honestly, if they were to remake Kill a Mockingbird, they would be at a crossroads and be like, oh my god, like, we want to try and make the villain not a villain, but like, he's a white guy, so we should make him the villain. He's bad, so it's just,
Yep.
And we can't say the N-word as many times as they did in the book.
Yeah. Well, Melissa and I just watched The Creator, and she pointed it out to me, and it's sad because I didn't even think about it for once. For once I didn't even notice it. But again, it's just like, I'm just trying to enjoy the damn movie. But like, and that's the point is like what happened to subtlety, right? And that's what the guys on Red Letter Media were talking about with Exorcist too. Is like, things work if they're subtle, right? Like if there's like a subtle underlying issue, if there's something subtle, then it's like it also adds to the flavor of the film or to the respectability of the movie. But like Melissa pointed out in The Creator, now that's a black guy lead, like it's led by a black guy.
Isn't that Denzel Washington's son?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't know.
He was really good. I loved him in it. He's a great actor. But when I went to go see The Creator, I've been wanting to see that movie forever, and I was super stoked for it, and I loved it. It was good, but it wasn't like a 10 out of 10. But anyway, watching
very mid.
I didn't. What's that?
Very mid.
Very mid. No, this is more than mid, but it was. But like the whole time, like I'm only saying it now or pointing it out now because we're talking about this, obviously through the context of the conversation that he's black. Like, whoa. But it's like when I wanted to go see this movie, and I wanted to go see this movie not because the lead actor's black. I didn't even see that of course I see he's
sounds
black,
like you're virtue signaling.
Shut up. But like I didn't even like, you know what I mean? Like not once in my excitement to go see this movie, or not once while watching the movie was I like, this guy's black. This guy's black. Just so you know, everyone, he's black.
There's a suspicious amount of black people in this movie.
Right. I'm not like in my head like, oh, Kyle, hey, I know you like this movie, man, but this guy's black or anything of that nature. Like, it's just a movie I wanted to go see. But then it's like Melissa, and I didn't even notice this, but Melissa pointed it out, and I'm like, damn it, like why'd you have to ruin it for me? But it's like, of course it is probably true, because again, and this is what I was talking about last night with like conspiracy theories. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's like the reality of it is that it's most likely true. But Melissa pointed out that all the villains in the movie were white. And when I watched the movie, like I said, I didn't even notice, because it's like they make America the bad guys. And again,
of course,
with my hatred for the the federal government, I was okay with it being. And as we all know, like America's not like, you know, as we used to paint ourselves to be. Like, I'm definitely, you know, all for honoring America and all that stuff, and I love America, but also America can be shitty as far as like the government goes. But so I was all for it. It was dealt with robots, like Americans killing robots, whatever. But it probably was like not an allegory, but it was like probably a metaphor for like, if I really wanted to get deep with it, probably like illegal aliens, or like, I don't know, the robots probably represented minorities of some sort or something, whatever. I mean, they are a minority in the movie, but blah blah blah. But yeah, so I'm going on a tangent here, but
you're okay.
Sorry, but like, yeah, Melissa pointed out like all the villains were white people, and then I'm like, oh, cool, thanks for ruining the movie for me, because now it's like they probably did do that on purpose. Otherwise, I just would have watched a movie and just been like, oh, okay, cool. But no, probably didn't that on purpose.
And you know, I don't necessarily want to get too political with this, but it is hard when you talk about movies or entertainment, video games, books, whatever. It's hard not to talk about politics when you're talking about any form of media these days, because they throw it in everywhere. Right. And I think that's just it's kind of an issue, especially when you don't agree with what they're trying to say, because depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you could just be canceled, gone like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, if you're an actor, you could be blacklisted. So there's a big problem with them constantly throwing this in, and then they make it political, but then they just talk about how you're just racist or sexist or whatever when you notice when you notice, you know, certain things that they do, you know, particularly with these comic book movies where they'll race swap or gender swap a character just for the sake of doing it. And it's like, well, that's not actually the character. Oh, well, you just don't like it because, you know, you're this or that. You know, it's a massive problem. So
right,
yeah. Look at Marvel in the MCU.
Yeah,
like, oh, dude.
Some YouTuber wanted to say that, oh, you know, they made some slight changes to Marvel. Yeah, chopping his penis off, giving him a wig, making him an old woman. Yeah, slight changes to that character.
Well, see, that's the funny thing, right? Is that, you know, movies, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, was that like all movies and entertainment and video games, all that stuff have always been political. That's the thing, though. It's like they always have had political, but again, it's always like political undertones or subtlety. Like those movies, they didn't shove it down your throat, and it also wasn't just one political view that was always being portrayed. So that's the problem with modern day Hollywood is they want to shove this, and I don't want to get too political. Your trash talk here, but they have one view clearly in Hollywood, and that's all they want to push. And anything in every movie that they put out nowadays is always from that perspective or that viewpoint. But before this era of shit that we're in, movies still were political. They had, again, agenda, not necessarily. That was the difference. I don't think they were necessarily agendas. And if there were agendas, it was either specifically from the director or the writer themselves or so on and so forth. And again, there was subtlety to it. And it was really, you could say that it was mind control or whatever you want to say, like trying to push a narrative on the consumer. But in reality, it was so subtle or so, you know, underneath the main narrative that common people didn't notice, common viewers wouldn't notice it and things like that. And it was only available to those who dissected movies, like, you know, film professors or like film students, different people like that, or critics who did deep dives into films other than just for entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? So now it's like shit. You could be a top 5-year-old and you could realize, wait a minute, they're, you know,
it's right in my face.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So
and also, like, you know, even like just to go back to like the physical media, you know, thing we were saying, it's like, even if you take politics out of it, like even just, you know, like you kind of said, it's like, it's nice to have it for like historical, like collection, accuracy and like keeping the history of the films, like for example, Star Wars, the original trilogy, I mean, there's still a huge following for people who would want the original movies when they came out in theaters, like that version, right? We don't want the special editions. We want the
remastered
original
version.
movie. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, that no one has ever actually released the original Star Wars movies like as they were seen in theaters, other than like not even third party, but like pirates or like whatever you'd like to call them. Like those do exist. The original, they've gone back and like there's like Project, I forget what it's called. Like when did the first Star Wars come out? 76?
Yeah, or 77.
77. Yeah. It's like called Project like 77 or something like that. I don't recall.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
where they remastered the original cut of the movie.
Right. Yeah, they found like different prints and original prints of like movie theater film and like all over the world and it's like a huge like organization or like team of people who try to put it together to make it as accurate to the original movie theater experience of the Star Wars films as possible. Because even when back then, when they re-released the movies out on VHS or whatever, I don't even know what was out back then. Like, I don't know. I'm not even going to try and guess. But like when they did home video releases, they cut things before they did that or added things and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the only way you can watch those is like see like F Disney, F Fox, like they haven't even put out the technically original movies. God knows why, don't know why, but like you can get them, but by individual people by downloading them.
With Star Wars in particular, that was actually George Lucas's decision.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the studio. George Lucas actually, I think to this day, he still has the original versions of the original trilogy. Okay. But he wanted to make sure that his definitive version was the only one you could buy, which is the remastered, like the alterations and all that stuff.
Okay.
So, as much as I like George Lucas, as much as I respect him, I think he made a mistake making all these alterations. The one thing I hated the most about it was in Return of the Jedi, when Luke's getting electrocuted and Vader saves him. He's like, no, and then throws him down. Like, I hate that change. Unfortunately, that's on my Blu-ray collection. I hated it.
What happened originally? He just doesn't say no.
No, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
he just grabs them and tosses them.
Yeah, like because the way the scene is shot, it's like you can, even though he's got the mask on, you can tell what he's thinking, what he's feeling, because of how that scene is shot.
Right. Yeah. No, but yeah, it's just I just think it's to kind of get back on track here. I just think it's bull crap. And again, also like we talked about last night, it's also most people don't realize they're just kind of being shills. They're just like, oh, it's the future. Oh, well, like it's convenient. Like we talked about, like I love that. Like I can buy a physical copy and then it comes with a digital copy on top of that. And it's like, oh, well, that's like an add-on. That's like the cherry on top. That's appreciated. But it's not always included with physical media nowadays. But it's like, oh, okay, well, thank you. That's greatly appreciated. Because then that way, like Dan, like you said last night, if I don't have a means to play the disc, I'm on the go or I'm at a friend's house, I can watch it on a digital space. It's like, okay, that's nice. But what people don't realize is that it's a way for them to control you and control your money and to make more money. It's a corporate thing. So many people think like, oh yeah, it's so funny how many people like hate on corporations for like greed and hate on
billionaires.
Well, yeah. What is that? It's a C word. What is that? Capitalism. That's right. How many people hate on capitalism? But then they shill so hard for these companies like Disney and like all these other companies. It's like you dumbass. They are doing it. You're doing exactly what they want you to do, and you're like, oh, fuck capitalism, blah blah blah. But then it's like, oh yes, daddy, please take away all my goods and services and make me pay for them again that I already, purchased. And it's like, because like with the digital ones, they can constantly change them, but also they can constantly resell them to you in different ways and in different formats. And it's like, well, Kyle, they do that now with the physical media. What's the difference? And it's like, well, yeah, but then with the physical media, it's like you have more of a choice. You can decide, like I said earlier, like, like I could have like two of the same movie, just pretend these are two of the same movie, but like this edition comes with like a whole buttload of extras, and then this edition doesn't. You know what I mean? So I can like, that's my choice to buy that or not to buy that or whatever. But then otherwise, if you have a digital copy, it's like, well, they're going to make it, keep it up to date as to whatever best suits their company or their corporate politics or their whatever. And then they can at any moment take that away from you and charge you again for it. You know what I mean?
And like we said,
go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was just going to say, even like, we said last night, like, even if we move away from movies and go to video games, like, a pre-owned disc of a video game, let's say 10 years ago is like $10. You'd go into like GameStop, you buy it for $10, whatever. But now it's like, if everything's digital, it's like old games like are still $60 for a digital buy. You know what I mean? So like they could just keep the price at whatever ridiculous high ceiling and force you to pay that if you want to play these games,
Right. And especially when it's something that I absolutely was excited for, whether it be a game or whatever. Spider-Man 2 is right around the corner. I want that physical copy because I am that excited for it. When I am very much a fan of something, I want to actually physically hold it in my hands. You know what I mean? Because it feels good to like, right there. Like I want that on my shelf,
Right. You want to own it. And then it's also like with the legend, like we're talking about the different editions too, like there's so many games recently that came out, like I would have gladly spent more money and given them more money to purchase the legendary edition, but I didn't because it didn't come with the disc. It's like how asinine. I did that with like Monster Hunter. I know you guys probably aren't too familiar with Monster Hunter, but for the Switch, Nintendo Switch, they came out with like a legendary edition. I bought it, and it didn't come with the disc or the little Switch cartridge. It came with a download, and I'm like, well, I had bought it twice because I wanted the cartridge, so I had to go out and buy a physical edition. I was like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. So again,
that's the thing. Like, even Knights of the Old Republic, when they got ported to the Switch, how much are like the physical copies of those? They're like over $100, maybe $200. For the physical copy of that game, when you can buy the digital for like $10, right? For both,
right?
Like they're making it so inconvenient for people who want to buy physical media, and not to mention with video games, especially the Nintendo Switch started doing it. Nintendo started to do it, where they're doing cloud gaming. Yeah. Xbox is pretty new to it. PlayStation has been doing it for a while now.
Oh yeah,
but that's kind of worrying me too.
I'm super duper pissed about that because I'm done. Like I said, I told you guys I found like an Xbox Live account. I'm done with like the subscription services to all my once this like Xbox. Yeah. I found 2 like 6 months. It'll be like 6 months total. Once those run out, I'm done with the Xbox service because they want to bump up the charge. What do you? I get it, like the economy, like you want to pay your workers more, but that's the problem. Is like I don't think they're paying their workers more.
I don't think they are.
They're not. They're just charging us more because suddenly it costs more to make an intangible. How does it cost more to have it? The only thing maybe you're paying for is maybe to have additional. Like I work in software, dude, and it's like in the reality, like. You can sell whatever price point you want at that. Like when you take into account like people hour, or I forget what that's called. There's an acronym for it, but like people working hours, their actual physical labor to create the game, so on and so forth. But again, they're not paying their workers extra. And like the only other thing they'd be paying extra for to make the game would be to have like cloud space or cloud services or memory or different things like that they're paying the third party people or whoever provides them with that stuff. But it's like, why all of a sudden is an online service? Oh, we have to pay for the servers or we have to pay for the this and that. It's all a crock of shit, dude. And so they're all raising their prices. Xbox raising their prices. PlayStation raising their prices. And Nate, like you just said, like what's horseshit is I upgraded my PlayStation to the highest tier just like a month ago because me and my buddy have been playing a lot of retro games now recently.
Yeah.
And we saw that they had the back catalog on PlayStation. And I was like, all right, well, let's just try. We were like, let's just try it. And he convinced me to do it. And I was like, okay. Fucking paid like, $40 so we could access the games. And we went to go play them. And they're all, like, I'd say 80-90% of them are all fucking cloud-based services. And we try to go play them. And the frame rate is like,
terrible.
You have to have a really good internet connection. And that brings up to your point about the internet connection.
My PS5 is right beside my Wi-Fi or my modem or my router. And it's like, are you fucking kidding? And it's like, we're sitting there playing it. And it's like, trying to play Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, trying to play Ratchet and Clank. And it's like, what the fuck? And it's not even if you're about your signal strength too. It's also because it's on a server. It's about a cloud service. Or cloud streaming. It's their servers too. So if their shit is, and that's excuse me, that's what they were doing with Halo Infinite. That's why Halo, fucking pisses me the fuck off because half the time it's what's that called? Like something delay, like it's like a lag, like when you're like shooting someone on their screen, but then you die. You're like, what the fuck? It's because like their servers are all the way out in fucking California, and by the time it pings back and forth, there is like it might seem small, but it's like a half a second delay. But in reality, like that's significant. You know what I mean? So it's
funny because you said about playing Ratchet and Clank on doing the cloud. I did the same thing. I couldn't even make it past the menu screen, the main menu screen, because it kept stuttering
for like 2 or 3. What?
Oh,
you broke up. Sorry.
Maybe it was my shitty internet. I don't know at this point. Yeah, exactly. We didn't make it past the title screen. We started and we were legit on the first level and like we walked like 10 feet and we both looked at each other. Like, we're like, what the hell's going on? So I just wasted $40 million and I'm like, I'm done with because Sony's also raising their prices too. And I'm like, dude, I'm so done with you. So I only play or use Sony, my PlayStation to play one-player games anyway to begin with. So,
I'm curious to hear what your thoughts of this is. Thoughts on this, but Sony just released an app. God, I can't remember. It's like it's a new movie app. So, but it's like specifically for Sony. I think they only have Sony movies on here. But they just put it on the PS5. And I went through there. I didn't buy anything on it because there really isn't anything on there worth having that I don't already have anyway. But they have like this section where it's called IMAX Enhanced, and apparently it has better audio, and the picture actually fills the screen, all that stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's kind of like a cash grab? Do you think that's a very cheap way of getting people to buy their movies again?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't mean to like go on a tangent here again, but I was gonna say, well, Dan was gonna say something till right before you asked that, so I didn't know if it pertains to this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. I just didn't know what you were gonna say, Dan.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I think a lot of going back to the Xbox and PlayStation raising their prices, I think it's because Game Pass and PlayStation Now or whatever, like I think they just usually Game Pass. I think it's just it loses money for them to put new games free for everyone. Like I was gonna say, it's similar to like a lot of these like Disney Plus and a lot of these streaming services. Like they're losing money.
They're pushing,
so it's not profitable. You know what I mean?
They are a bunch of idiots, and they're all trying to push us in a certain direction, and they're actually losing tons and tons of money. And they're like, well, we're going to make the consumer pay for it for our mistake. Instead of just listening to us and looking at the numbers and being like, okay, well, this isn't viable. Let's go back to physical, and let's go back to, the way things were. And it's like, it's bullshit.
Sony shot themselves in the foot when they Well, for starters, they shot themselves in the foot when they started PlayStation Now. But now it's like because of the new tiers and everything, what they essentially did was merge the PlayStation Now into PlayStation Plus. So that's it. And then the prices, as soon as that happened, the prices skyrocketed. You know, like the prices are insane. Like, do I might have to look.
The prices are nuts.
I want to look to see the prices.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like I think during the pandemic, these streaming
the what now?
Oh yeah, are you
Not
not
even
allowed
actually
to-
name it.
Oh yeah, you can't say that, can you, on YouTube? Wow.
I don't think so. That's okay.
Well, the
Just don't spam the word.
the couple of years that we weren't at work. A lot of those streaming services and whether streaming shows or streaming video games, like that was very popular because we were all just at home,
Right.
But now it's not viable anymore. Now I think as a business model, it loses money.
Yeah, it loses money. They lose money altogether. Oh, God. And Nate, to answer your question, I'm sure you just looked at the prices are ridiculous, but like, I mean, this all is kind of on the same path of discussion or what have you, but like also, yeah, I think it's a huge cash grab or it's just a money grab. Like they're like, oh, IMAX enhanced and blah blah blah, and it's like unless like just like no offense to Dan, but like he like with us collecting physical media, to his to that degree, he doesn't care, or not that he doesn't care, but he doesn't know the differences between certain things. Whereas the same thing goes with like these digital upgrades and so on, like IMAX or Dolby Atmos and all that blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like to the common consumer and watcher, they think they're just paying for an upgrade or paying for better quality, but in reality, it's like unless you have an ear for it or an eye for it and like know the differences and can know what to look for to spot the differences, you're not going to notice. You're not going to notice the difference. So you're just paying more money for nothing.
Exactly.
Holy fucking shit! $160.
Yeah. $160 for 12 months.
Yeah.
For 1 month, it's $18.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
That's for premium and extra. I never know what's supposed to be for what,
Yeah.
But that's insane. Yeah. But premium, I think I have premium. I think that's the one that I have. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's it. Let's see, again, I don't know what I had and didn't have and do have now,
Yeah.
But I always just wait till Black Friday.
If you're playing if you're able to play PS1 games, you have the highest tier. So that's what you're paying. $160.
Well, I made sure to cancel it so it doesn't but like I had to upgrade twice because of I guess whatever I had. I guess I had Essential, and then I had to upgrade twice to get the PS1 games and stuff. But it was one of those things where it's like, oh, you have 4 months left. You can upgrade to this, for the remainder, and it was only like $40, and I was like,
yeah,
excuse me, okay, fine, I'll do it just to check it out. But yeah, and I made sure it didn't auto renew because I am not paying that to fuck that. And if I mentioned Monster Hunter, like the only game I'd probably play online would be like with one of my buddies would be if they come out with a new Monster Hunter. But then I would just purchase like I guess the Essential, whatever I need to just play with friends, I guess,
Yeah.
But
I will say.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I will say, Nintendo's not bad. Surprisingly, they're not bad with their online service pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, their servers are kind of ass, I admit, but it's like $5 a month for their online.
Yeah, I think
that it's pretty cheap.
I used to bitch about it like that because Nintendo was free or whatever, but then they had they also have like a premium one or something. And I actually paid for the premium one back in the day. It was like a year ago or so for Animal Crossing. And then I've just kept it the whole time because it also gives me like access to it's like $45 for the year or something. But I also got like all the Mario Kart levels and stuff like that. So that I don't even care about. I'm like, all right, they're giving me I feel like they're actually giving me something worth having. So I'm like, whatever. But But gentlemen, I don't mean to leave short, but I'm going to go watch Pumpkinhead with Melissa, and she goes to bed early, so she's probably
Okay.
already
Yeah, we're
asleep.
probably not going to stay on too much longer anyway. We're going to probably be watching. Are you wanting to watch Dan Curse of Chucky?
Yes.
Is that what you guys are on? Which one?
Yep.
Number?
Yeah.
What number
Yeah,
is
we
that?
finished Seed of Chucky last week. That was rough.
So what is this? 5? Is this number 5?
This
6.
is 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. Happy birthday, Nate.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
I don't know how to leave. This is awkward.
Yeah, I do the
We
same
do
thing.
that every time.
No, actually, I think we are on 6. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have the first
Bride,
3 and then Bride and Seed.
Seed. Yeah, okay, this is 6. This
Go on,
is
imagine
6.
saying you're a
slide
fan.
through space. I just slide through
Imagine
space.
imagine calling yourself a fan.
Well,
And, you
sorry.
know.
Listen, I can't keep track, and I don't really consider Seed of Chucky canon, even though the show
It's not
seems
real.
to really want it to be canon still. But yeah, yeah. Physical media is just it's gonna die off, unfortunately, and
Yeah, I mean, I remember when the PS5 came out, because there's and the Xbox, I guess, but there was different versions, right? There was the digital only edition or whatever, and then there was the regular PS5 that came with a disc tray.
yeah.
And I remember even then, the disc tray was 10 times harder to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's not forget, Microsoft wanted to go all digital with the Xbox Series, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted that all to be digital, and then people had a problem with it. So,
rightfully so. I mean, come on.
yeah. It shouldn't be. Physical media should never be removed, and they are trying their hardest to remove that. And it really defeats the purpose because there's that retro game store not far from me, and it breaks my heart because we're not going to see retro game stores anymore if this is the path we're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to mention, there's nothing like going to a retro game store or even GameStop for that matter, where you can just maybe not GameStop so much anymore, but you could just go into a store, you're looking at video games, and then you're reminiscing about old games that you used to play as a kid, and you may see someone doing the same thing, looking around, and you kind of, as silly as it might sound, you kind of form a little friendship with random people, or you just have nice little conversations about whatever, and you're not going to have that anymore. So
yeah, no.
And then you got people like you who don't even want physical media. You don't even care. You're just like, oh yeah, I actually prefer digital.
Well, yeah, because it's clutter. I mean, look at look at all the movies you got back there. I mean, look at clutter.
I see a huge collection of movies. Listen, okay. Let me pull out some of my box sets that I and you even say you love box sets. We're not going to have box sets anymore. Let me show you. Let's see. Oh, James Bond. Okay, we got James Bond, Alien, 21 Jump Street. We got Ace Ventura, man. All of these. Harry Potter. Oh, look at golly gee, look. I got Harry Potter too. Would you like Harry Potter in a box set? Evidently not. I'm over it.
But look at that clutter.
Ain't no clutter. And now I'm pissed because I went on this tangent and I have to put it back.
Yeah, I was really taking them down and not putting them back. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's because I don't want to put them back yet. Because I'm pissed.
See, it's gotta suck to have to put it back. You could just, close it.
Okay, I'll just mute him.
You can't get rid of me. Yeah.
We'll see about that, you fucking prick. Hang on, my shit's a little slow. Okay, there we go. So anyway, he's just a piece of shit. Don't know nothing about physical media because he's a fucking bitch ass prick. Calls us boomers and shit because we want physical media.
Boomer.
No boomer.
Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer.
But was there something else I wanted to talk about? I don't even remember. We kind of went on a tangent, thanks to Kyle. I think that's about it, really. I mean, yeah, there were things that I decided not to talk about, but that's okay. What you're not really a Predator fan, Predator Alien fan, are you?
I mean, no, I guess not
You're not
really.
too
Like, I mean, like,
familiar with it.
I've seen the movie. You know, we watched the movies like relatively recently, and like I
Yeah.
liked them, but I wouldn't say I'm not very knowledgeable.
Yeah. Did you watch Prey?
Yes. Yep.
So they're making a sequel to that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it takes place in World War II. We're gonna have a World War II Predator movie.
Wait, so that's weird. So it doesn't follow any of the same characters.
No. That's the rumor or that's the speculation. But they're making a sequel to Prey, but like it's supposed to be in World War II, which honestly I think that would be kind of cool. But then again, I also thought Prey would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a whole lot of faith in it anymore. The Predator franchise, if they're gonna do, if they're gonna do this, are they gonna just go through every time period in history? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all they have anymore until they reach like the 80s where Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie kicks off. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you kind of mentioned this one time in the past where it's like, I think the Predator franchise, it's like, it's a cool idea, but it's just like, it's kind of hard to keep going with it. Like, it's like after
really
like one or two movies, it's like, what else can you really do?
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, we they deal with a predator in the jungle. Okay, well, let's take him out of the jungle and put him in a city. Okay, and then like fucking 20 years later, let's make another movie where the characters are on the predator homeworld.
Mm-hmm.
And let's bring the predator back in the city, but like we have I don't even know. But this time it's different because the main characters are all, dishonorable, discharged, Marines or whatever. Oh, and now we're gonna go and put him in the fucking 1700s. Let's put the Predator in the 1700s. And now we're going World War II. Like, okay. I don't know. It's just I don't even know. Franchise. It's like they're really reaching for anything for this franchise anymore, and I think they have a better chance at making an Alien movie, which is not saying much, but they have a better chance at making an Alien movie outside of a Predator movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny when you like summarize the Predators franchise, and it's like, oh, yeah, it is kind of a weird one.
Yeah.
I think there's only one person in the history of the world that likes the Predator, the fourth one.
Yeah, and thankfully he's gone.
Yeah, anyone who shares opinions with him, it's just you know something might be wrong with you.
Well, he also likes Godzilla.
Yeah, and Small Soldiers. What was the other? Oh, what was that? What was that game you guys were talking about?
Okay. So that I think that's all we got for tonight. Hang on. Let's see what this idiot has to say.
What was that video
What old game?
Like
Tamba?
Tamba or whatever? Yeah, that piece of shit.
Have you ever seen it? Have you seen the game though?
No, well, I don't think so. But it's a piece of shit. Why would? Why? Like, who would actually like that?
Hang on. Damn it. I'm going to share my screen here. Hang on. What the hell? Dun, 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 dun. That was the theme song to the game. Or not the theme song, but like the opening, the opening level song.
God, these fucking boomers.
Oh, we got to get this in. Hang on. We absolutely got to get that in because it's just such an iconic sound. Hang on, let me. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Dun, 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 dun. God, you have no idea how great Tamba was.
No.
It was fun. I played the hell out of the demo for that game. Because I had a demo disc. It was PlayStation Underground Volume 7.
Yeah.
And that's how I played the game until I got it on the PlayStation Store when I had my PS3. But yeah. And we have to do it. We have to do it. It's got to be here.
Oh.
So good.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, you gotta understand. This was awesome. I can't believe you know nothing about this game.
No, I'm not that old.
It's not even that old.
What do you mean?
Honestly, if you played this as a kid, you would have fucked this game. It was so good. Yeah, all the evil pigs.
Yeah. Stupid.
Evil pigs, they're like, they're very green and you don't spread them. Look, the evil pig, the one evil pig steals his grandfather's bracelet.
This doesn't make any sense.
I love this little, yep, now he's got to go get him. I love this right here. I love that little jump. Yahoo!
I can't tell if it's bad or I can't tell if it's bad or terrible. Look at it.
Come on, get to the big play. Ah, come on. Of course, we're going to get some extra gameplay. There it is. Hey, you with the pink hair. Oh, man, he's just breezing through the dialogue. He doesn't give a fuck about the dialogue.
Yeah, because no one should care. Look
Gotta
at
find
it.
the 100-year-old wise man. Oh, this is great. So there's a fog. You have to look for the fog. So what he did was he got the mailbox and there's a tornado. So he needs the tornado to clear the fog. This is what I was telling you last night about the monkey in the tree. Yeah. Who could not love this game?
It's just like
What? Yeah, he shrunk the pig with the gas. Look at that. He's got a baby pig. Look at that. You mean that ain't good?
no. I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at right now. Like, why is his hair pink?
Because it says pink.
What the hell does Tom even mean?
And look, he's got you get the chicks, you get the baby chicks, or whatever. And oh, he's about to pull out the tornado. Look at that. That's so fun. Yeah, he just throw the tornado out there.
You just throw a
There's the
tornado.
fog, there's all that shit. But in order to progress to the next area, you have to talk to the 100-year-old wise man, but he wants you to save the little baby chicks and eggs. You collected one of those eggs, right? So let's hang on, let me- So he has the eggs, but you know where he keeps them?
Where?
He spits them out. He spits them out.
So he
See
ate
if I can
them.
back it up a little bit.
So he ate them.
He swallowed them. He swallowed them, but spit them back up. See? Look at that.
So he ate them. He ate them and threw them back up, is what you're telling me.
Yes. Yes. I love that game.
And this is a good game to you. This is
It's a
like
great
nostalgia.
game.
Like this
Oh
is
my
like,
God.
oh man,
You know
when I
what?
was a kid.
You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to play Tomba. I'm gonna play the whole game. That's what I'm
Really?
gonna do. Oh
All
yeah.
right. I think that'd be a fun next stream.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I'll play that. I'll play the sequel. I've never beaten either one
There's
of them.
more than one.
Yeah, I've never beaten either one of them.
Yeah, because you probably got bored. You're probably like, all right, it's fucking Tomba.
No, it gets hard. It gets fucking hard, dude. It gets so frustrating. Especially because it's such an open world side scroller game. It's ridiculous. It's really hard. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always funny when as an adult you go back to games that were difficult. And then you see it's like, were they actually difficult, or was I just too young to figure it out?
No, this game's hard. It's actually really hard. But it's fun. I like that game a lot. I have a lot of fond memories with just the demo.
Yeah, I remember getting those discs.
Yep. I had one demo disc for the PS2 that had Jack 3. I think it had Jack 3 on it. It had Crash Twinsanity. It had a couple trailers. There was one game, I think it was called like PsyOps or something like that. I always wanted it, but I never played it. But I remember seeing the trailer for it. It looked awesome. I'm trying to remember what else was on there. There was one like Metal Gear style spy game. I can't remember what it was, but it's like you play as this woman or something. I don't know. But that seemed kind of cool. I wanted to play that. I wanted to actually get that. They had a Simpsons Simpsons Hit and Run on there. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
That's funny how, like, of course, technology, the internet and stuff. It's like back in the day, you couldn't just watch a trailer. You couldn't just download a demo to try it out. Like, no, you had to actually get a disc that had all these things on it.
Yep. Or you could go to like your Blockbuster or A to Z Games or whatever, and just you had to pick up a game, you rented it, and good times. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That PlayStation like logo and sound, like at the start of that video, like, I was like, it brings back memories.
It sure does. It sure does. Yeah. I the thing is, you still see the PlayStation logo, but it doesn't start out with like the white screen. It just goes straight to like the PlayStation logo for like your PS1 games, unless you actually have a PS1 console. You know what I mean? I wish they would just fucking completely do that whole thing. Back on the PS4, they have like there's like this PlayStation theme. It was like 20 years. It was like for their 20th anniversary or something like that. Or 40th anniversary. I don't even know, but it was like an anniversary theme, and it was like, it's like an all white thing, and it whatever, but it has all the PlayStation noises from like the PS1 to the PS4. And as soon as you start up your console with that theme on, you'll hear the whole like boom, bring, and then it just starts going through all the fucking PlayStation startup sounds that it's had through the years. It's cool. I really like that. That was back when they had like a PS4 anniversary. I think they came. No, I don't think they came out with like an actual console version of the anniversary. I can't remember, but I remember they had an anniversary style controller, like the DualShock 4 controller, where it had the classic color scheme of the PS1 controller.
Yep. I think the console did. I think the console did too.
It might have.
I think so.
Yeah. I think it did. I think it did. But it was a limited thing, and I remember just wanting the controller, But yeah. Good times. I miss those good old days. But I think we're gonna have to call it. We're probably gonna watch more Chucky.
Yeah. It was like just under 3.5 hours. Got to bring Kyle on.
Yeah, I think it was pretty fun. It was a fun discussion tonight.
I mean,
actually, we went on longer than I thought.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, I had to listen to you the whole time, and then Kyle.
All right, so I'm not dealing with disrespect anymore. So, yes, we're gonna call it.
Then Kyle fucking joined it. Oh,
but yes, we are going to call it a night. But yeah, I forget how we're ending this, but I will thank you for watching. Any last words before I nuke this, Dan?
No, I just thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the
Yeah.
next one.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.